results of the day's work were summed up in a signal from the Eastern Fleet Commander to the Commander-in-Chief. Be pleased to report that at the end of 24 hours of continuous sorting constant Alizé recce and bombing and Seahawk strikes, Cox's Bazar and Chittagong have been rendered inoperative. There is no merchant ship of any size in Chittagong Harbour or approaches which has not been struck and incapacitated. This operation undoubtedly highlighted the decisive impact of an aircraft carrier in naval operations. The Marine PNS Ghazi, deployed to sink Vikrant, found a watery grave at the bottom of the sea off Vishakhapatnam Harbour after defensive anti-submarine action by Indian naval ships Rajput and Akshay. Vikrant remained forever invincible. Meanwhile, the Western seaboard was witness to one of the most audacious and daring attacks in the history of naval warfare. It was here that the bold plan to attack Karachi was conceptualized and implemented. The plan required ingenuity, perfect timing, and absolute emphasis on surprise. The ships chosen for this mission were the sleek and stealthy Osa-class missile boats of the 25th Missile Vessel Squadron.
Sir, may I start, sir?
Yeah, please go ahead. Kanchana, you required to unmute.
Yes, sir. The Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Bimalan Patel, the speakers for the 2 days, Commodore Inderjit Sharma, Ati Vishishta Seva Medal, Veer Chakra, Commander Vijai Kapil, Veer Chakra Nausena Medal Gallantry, Captain Surinder Singh Sethi, Rear Admiral K Mohanan, Ati Vishishta Seva Medal, Commander Ashok Diwan, Muktijoddhas, Commodore A.W. Chaudhary, Veer Uttam, Veer Bikram, SMG, PSC SCAS, Mr. Atharuddin Talukder, Padma Shri Lieutenant Colonel Sajjad Ali Zahir, Veer Pratik, Shadineta Padak, Ms. Priya Sharma Shaikh, Ms. Anjali Mullah, Ms. Amita Mullah Watal, serving and retired members of the armed forces, guests from Bangladesh, NCC cadets, students, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Director in Charge, School of Military Affairs, Strategy and Logistics, Colonel Deepak Joshi, I, Kanchana Ramanujam, take immense pleasure in welcoming you all to day 2 of the proceedings on the webinar, Victory at Sea, the Naval Operations of 1971. I also want to acknowledge amongst us the presence of Vice Admiral Vinod Pasricha. The video which was just played was provided by him. So without further ado, let me now hand over to the Director in Charge, Colonel Deepak Joshi, to take the proceedings forward. Sir? So you'll have to unmute yourself, sir.
Yes, what is the this thing? Where do we proceed from here?
So we'll begin directly with the proceedings of date. So you'll have to invite Commodore A.W. Chaudhary to talk about his experience in the operations, sir.
Okay, that's my pleasure to once again reintroduce Commodore Abdul Wahid Chaudhary, Veer Uttam, Veer Bikram, and of course PSC, and he's got so many decorations to his name. Commodore Chaudhary has been a gallant officer who has put in 35 years of long service in Navy. 10 of them has been as a submariner and 25 years of service on the surface. He had long experiences with the submarine and long gunnery specialist with a PSC, that is past staff college from the Defense Services Command and Staff College. And he served 10 years in different submarines, American submarines like the USS Diablo, which is Spanish for devil. and later called PNS Ghazi. Russian-Indonesian submarine Brahmastra and French Daphne submarine PNS Mangro, amongst very other surface ships. This thought of joining the Liberation War when they were at Paris is a story in itself and has been recounted in previous webinars, and it was very interesting. And it was a very brave action, and I've read it in a number of journals, and whenever I read about it, my, it's a sense of being amongst action. Then he, of course, with 9 other submariners, he planned and they defected. I wouldn't use the word defected, that's a bad word. But that has been given to me in my script. Somehow I want to avoid that. He left the force which was inimical and which he did not like, and he went to join the Liberation War, which is action. So he also persuaded others to join himself, and then he came and joined the Muktijoddhas and the Operation Jackpot as was going. And I will not say much about it. I will leave it to Commodore Chaudhary to tell about it. So I've got it in my script, but that's not my telling today. After the war, he has served 25 long years of service, a very, very glorious service. He has been a director of signals, hydrographic intelligence, armament training, including some other prestigious appointments abroad. And he also represented Bangladesh in the 1995 Southeast Asian Symposium. That is what the CS is in his biodata. And that was in Hawaii, under the Pacific Command in Hawaii, Japan, South Korea, and Singapore, and also received the Best Award for International Human Relationship amongst 20 participation of 18 countries. He is a war hero, widely known as the pioneer war hero of Bangladesh, and amazing person to be with, a very compassionate man, a true gentleman, and officer. So I will invite him now, Commodore Chaudhary, to please tell us about your experiences you had of the Liberation War of Bangladesh. Over to you, Commodore.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, Colonel Joshi. Thanks very much for your excellent letter that you have invited me, which used to be done earlier by General Shaha. I pray for his early recovery. Meantime, I am strongly connected with the Professor Kantana Saab almost every day. And the pictures that I see in the screen, good morning to all of you from Dhaka City. And Assalamu alaikum, my colleagues, especially the Colonel Sajjad. He is in the center of the screen. I saw the hero, the Commander Vijai Kapil, but he's gone somewhere now. And my very close friend, Admiral Mohan, who was my course mates in Cochin in 1973 and 4, right in the beginning. So when he came to Dhaka, he visited. I'm very fortunate. And his goodly also accompanied him. They had a small little cup of tea or something, but thereafter I am only seeing him in the screens. But the time, Colonel Joshi Saab, you have given me, it's too little. I just finish it. Impossible. See, I love telling because I want to pay my tributes to the entire Indians. What an angel people. They came from where? From the sky, even in Spain, in Barcelona, even wherever I was caught, in Rome. These people I never met before. They came like an angel. And when they heard about my defection, it was an open defection, not a stealing escape. It was not a dacoity escape. It was some sort of responding to the call of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujib, what a man, what a personality, what a great oration and his speech and wordings. It attracted me in France. I was in the TV room singly during my PNS Mangrove service. Suddenly it struck me, and I was watching and listening and listening and listening, and I saw our people, Bangladeshi people, are very soft nature, like Indians. Aap to madhur people hai. You people are honey type. You are so loving, and we are also not less than you. We, our ladies, our girls, our university students, they filled up the entire field of Ramna to listen Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujib on 7th March. What a historical speech. We were, wherever we were, whether in France, whether in Spain, whether in Italy or United States, I'm surprised. How come the United States were cheated by the bloody Pakistanis? They never told them the actual story and position of Bengalis, what sort of people we were, because they wanted to grab our land. They wanted to keep us as long as they can as a slave and take my properties and take away all my belongings and make their fortune. That was not possible. They made a blunder in the name of bloody religion, in the name of Islam, in the name of Muslim brotherhood. They have cheated us for 25 years. For that reason, the 7th March speech came, and I was in a position to help my colleagues in the submarine service. And that submarine was very, historically, it will never be washed away. PNS Mangrove, I was one of the key crew of PNS Mangrove as a submariner. By then, I have already become submarine specialist beginning. You have already shown in your video S130. It reminds me in the sea, the bloody S130 is PNS Ghazi, where I began. It got sunk in Vishakhapatnam. There again, I was used by Bir Bahu secretly during the war period for a salvage operation, and I benefit the Indian Navy and the Bir Bahu submariners for our salvaging and how to enter, where to go, how to go with a diagram. And if you could help me so much, why not me? So coming to the defection with the 7th March, it kept on circling in my head. There's something is going on. Those days, the digitalization wasn't there. No cell phone, no mobile, nothing. Only one band transistor radio used to give the most of the information through BBC and the Voice of America. And it had a particular time in the night, almost 10:30, 11:30. So kept on listening almost every day. Finally, I could understand something is seriously going on in Dhaka city. People are dying. The red bloods are on the road. And the songs also gave us some sort of meaning. So everything all together, I being a citizen of that particular land, every man belongs where he is born. That mud, that fire, that air, the 4 things is linked in the body. And I come from that particular part of Bangladesh. Then I thought, this is the time. I, as a military man, if I cannot be by the side of my people, what is the use? Whether I become a submariner or a millionaire with money or a billionaire, no, it never gives you satisfaction. Thinking on this particular line on the track, I expected intuitionally the liberation war and the independence call be coming. Finally, the 25th March 1971, the crackdown took place. And I got in the next morning, I was on the forecastle, on the forward deck, about inside the dock at Toulon. We were in the dock to clear the bottom and preparing to sail for Pakistan. In the meantime, the Le Monde, there is a newspaper in France, it gave the news that the Bangladesh has declared independence through a clandestine radio. And today, the truth never dies. Truth prevails, and today, everything is coming. Although those days, the CC was not there, the recording was not traceable, but finally, they found that particular clandestine declaration made by Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujib. And the man who carried it, he has also come in the history. See, why I'm saying the truth will always come. Nobody can hide it. Nobody can, destroy it. The people tried even in our case at one stage. Today, the way you have brought me, honoring me, for your entire university students and the people and the Indians to listen about the history, how the Pakistanis, what they never thought, they will just kill and smash us, and they just bring the bloodshed in the Bangladesh and kill us and stop us from the demand. But what happened? Even a single man could come out from France. Then I started leaving on 26th March, but it wasn't possible. Finally, we left PNS Mangrove on 29th March 1971. That's why I always say I am born afresh on 29th March 1971, not in British time or Indian time, because then my age becomes too high. But now I'm 33. We always say, if you are in heaven, you will remain at 33 forever. I'm there because I'm a clean man. I'm a warrior. I'm a Navy man. We fight in the war. See, and we also remain underwater and hit the enemy. That is what we have done. Coming to defection in a small time. And 29th March 1971, the defection was open by road from Toulon. We came to Marseille. From Marseille, a minute before midnight, the train left for Geneva. We came to Geneva, we could not enter. I don't know from where all this, the planning was initially done, but later on, shifting and turning, where to go, what to do, all these things, as if these were all, miracle. It is destined that to do this sort of, successful defection. Finally, we could not enter. We shaped our course to Barcelona via Lyon. There, we again found out that we can enter Barcelona, Spain, without visa. And we entered. Here comes the role of Indians. But today, it is so easy to trace anybody with the retards, with the gadgets. But those days, it wasn't possible for anybody, even the Indians in France, even in Barcelona, even in Spain, to trace us. When we contacted after clearing the French border to Barcelona, we contacted Indian consulate. I want to know those people now because I'm still alive. I want to see those people. I don't know their names. They are the one who has given me the connection to meet the ambassador, Charge d'Affaires, those who was holding the charge, Sri Bedi in Madrid. He is the man. He is the man. Then we went to Madrid, and there we met Mr. Sri Bedi, he came to our hotel. We have exchanged our passports with him. And in 10 minutes, he got the political asylum from Indira Gandhi. What a leader. What a loving, great leader. Sometimes I find the Bongo Bandhu was very close and they would have matched together. I tell you, they should have remained together. This is something unique in my eyes. Indira Gandhi used to love us. What a lady. She is so dynamic. She motivated the whole world for Bangladesh. What a charismatic leader. Like not very many. There are two leaders in my life now I'm seeing. One is Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujib and another is Srimati Indira Gandhi. What a lovely lady. And the Jagjeevan Ram, they send us the political asylum in 10 minutes time. It risked on receiving this. Sri Bedi Saab arranged our flight, next onward flight to Bombay, Delhi. No delay business. Then we flew. By then it has become 10th April, almost 10th April. 29th March, 30th gone, and the Barcelona and Madrid. By then 10th April, I remember, we flew from Madrid. The moment we took off, the whole world has come to know because Mr. Sri Bedi has given it in the air. The 8 submariners, we were in fact total 9. One guy was from Sylhet. You know, the Sylheti guys, lot of Sylhetis are in England from Bangladesh. Even in Pakistan time also they used to go. So this guy, instead of joining me in Marseille, but he got the passport from me. Everybody got passport single. I did not keep any witness that I have given the passport because I knew if I'm caught, I will be shot. Mutiny, it wasn't that easy game. Remember, you take yourself back in 71. What was your age? What was your strength? What sort of guts and the morale you had? It wasn't that easy in 71 when there was the less number of people. Bangladesh had no navy in 71 when the liberation began. It was we, 8 submariners, responded with the call of Bangabandhu. We are coming. We will join you. We will fight the bloody enemy. We will see them at the cost of our life. Because nothing that I carried my all belongings. We had plenty money, 1,000 francs per month. In those days, you can imagine, everything was free. Everything was free as a submariner. What a great life. But if the bloody submarine sinks, you are sunk. One submarine sunk. That was Eurydice. In front of us, de Gaulle was the president. I remember with the de Gaulle, I have also, joined him to read Lay in the Sea for the Eurydice. The entire best crew of France gone underwater. So I could also, in my submarine life, in my submarine service, the adventurous and thrilling and money. But life is also in hand, anytime. Well, similarly, but the Liberation War was much bigger than that. Well, coming back to 10th April when we landed in Rome, I could see through the window the lot of cameramen and the news reporters. By then, because of the mobile sets and then the digitalization wasn't there. That's why we were not caught at Geneva. We were not caught at Lyon. We were not caught at Barcelona. But when the message was given by Mr. Sri Bedi, we were caught at Rome. Most probably it was 10th April. You can check. The same day, there was a plane which was supposed to come from New York, and we will transfer from this Spanish, or I don't know which aircraft, from that aircraft, we will go to the Indian Airlines for onward fly to Bombay. But that flight couldn't come. It got delayed for 10 hours because of the strike in New York in 1971. Then here I want to say and pay my respect to the Indian Airlines staff. What a charismatic, the style. I never met these people, whether from Maharashtra or Tamil Nadu or the Kakinada or the Kannur or the Goa or where from Delhi or Bombay. We never met anybody. But these people, what a great assistance. They managed in 1 hour time. They sent us back to Geneva where we could not initially enter by air instead of keeping for 10 hours in the Italy, Iran, Rome airport, because the Pakistani 4 guys came running from the embassy. Even they couldn't shut the button properly in the shirt and asking us, "Arey bhai, aap galti kar rahe hain, aap galti kar rahe hain, aap galti kar rahe hain, don't go. Nothing will happen to you." I said, bloody hell, I'm not with you. I'm from a new country. It is Bangladesh. And my country has declared independence. I'm just not with you. Don't dare talk to us, talk to me, and talk to any one of us. So in 1 hour time, Indian Airlines, they just sent us back to Geneva. We waited there for 1 hour. After 1 hour, we took another aircraft straight to Bombay via Karachi. While it was flying over Karachi, we were again, alert. I myself was alert with the fork and spoon. I'll be using it as a knife in case anybody tries to enter the cockpit, and so that it is not landed again and we get caught. So we were so alert. And then finally, on arrival, Bombay. So this was the part of the Indian staff. They came to me till today as an angel. In Barcelona, in Madrid, the Sri Bedi, he's alive. He is in my book, Operation X, which is written by the Indian great writer and the late great Captain Samantha. So I was there in this particular book's launching at Delhi. I was very fortunate. I'm still fortunate with the Indian people. I want to praise these people till I'm alive in this world. And sincerely, the assistance, the help, the magnanimity you have shown is unparalleled. Even in your war, the amount of Manik Shah and the Indira Gandhi's discussion one can make out. See, they are so methodical. Even the Admiral Nanda of the Indian Navy, I met him twice. He came to visit my camp at Bhagirathi, at Palasi, where the bloody Robert Clive has taken all our juices. This subcontinent, India, was the richest country in the world once upon a time. But abhi sab gaya. They have made their fortune. The queen puts on all the crown. But these are all from India. These are ours and yours. We are also magnanimous people, hospitable people. Once our heart is filled up, somebody's, with sweetness, हम सब दे देते हैं. आप भी तो ऐसे ही है. You are also. The Indians are also. It is just like that. It is until today. But the bloody Pakistanis, they are whimsical. They just fought. They thought they will finish us. They never realized what is happening today. The whole world is cursing them. They can never come out from this sort of atrocities and the killing, the brutalities that they have done in this country with these innocent people, the way they have ran over with the tanks from Dhaka city. I'm sitting there now in that near the capital, just not even a mile from this place. they ran over the civilians. Indiscriminately, they ran over the innocent people. They were my brother and sisters. They were my parents. They were my relations. They're Indian, I find very cool. That's why General Manekshaw took time. Let me prepare. Let Nanda also got his time. Let me settle down and prepare the Navy. Let us have our preparation first. And in the meantime, the few months when we started after reaching India, when we began our operation, thereafter, in the meantime, Indian Navy, Indian Air Force, like my friend, the Admiral Mohanan, what a fighter pilot, what a greatness of 7,000 tonnage aircraft carrier and the pilot on board. The 70,000, the US 7th Fleet could not reach in this particular water. What a game. In the meantime, the Russian also came up. I was a bit surprised about the, Americans. Today they realize that they made a mistake. But who actually briefed you? It was the Pakistanis. Anyway, coming to the landing at Bombay, finally, soon after landing, we were taken to Delhi. And there, our leader, the General Usmani also came and met us. Here, we were not freely allowed to move or go around in Delhi. I still do not know where we were kept, but all big people came and sat down. I remember one today, Admiral Mihir, who became later the Navy Chief. He was DNI, once a Direct Naval Intelligence in those days. He came in, the sponge chappal, so that one cannot make out that he is a very senior high officer. Because those days, the intelligence was like this, so that camouflage. But he was so handsome, he was so fair, but he got caught today. And he became later on Admiral and the Chief. I also became, last was Director Naval Intelligence. But we don't do intelligence like that. Anyway, so they all were very nice. Then the one gentleman was a bit dark, very heavy, but very loving color. I must say, handsome. Maybe from the intelligence bosses, they all sat down. General Usmani was also there. We were talking very serious and asked, what do you want to do? We said, we have not come here with political asylum to stay in the state guest and in your 5 stars or whatever stars. I have enjoyed all the privileges in my past life in France. I had a lot of girlfriends, but dil ka saaf. No, nothing bad. But sailor is always like that. But the thing is this, those people were so good, they still do not know where I am. I don't know whether I am on trace or traceable, but I came for a great job. I left everything. So when they heard, please let us go to the border or to the freedom fighters, just we want to join before it finishes. I want to participate in the liberation war. That is the only aim, is join the liberation war. Then they realized these guys are very tough. We have already spent almost 10 years in the submarine service. And we know we were the key personnel in the service also. So then who all were there? Only one name I could tell you today, but the rest I still do not know. But we had no problem, no complaint. We waited for a few days and then they planned to use us, only 8 submariners initially, to send us to the harbor mouths, Chittagong port, Mongla port, and the all important ports to hit with the mine, but they have not mentioned mine. And the Lipid Mine also, nobody shown the brigade. The Commander Kapil is from the Palasi, he's one of the most handsome lieutenant those days in uniform, standing, not even shaking hand with us in the camp, because it's still secret. You never know who. But he knew that we, the submariners, we were already trained as an instructor. Immediately in 15 days' time, that Delhi meeting with the General Usmani and the few Indian heads, we were trained in Delhi, in Delhi near the Jamuna River, and for demolition in Qutub Minar. But the purpose is still not clear. Then later on we understood we have become divers now with a pair of fins. There was no time to do with the apparatus, because the apparatus takes minimum 2 to 3 months. So that's why it was immediately they realized, because they were keeping a track of the Liberation War situation and the Pakistani's position and all. See, the Liberation War was different. The bloody Pakistanis, they fought against the civilians. They were fighting against the civilians. But your war, which came up later on 3rd, that was military to military. The army to army, navy to navy, air force to air force. That was not civilian. In my case, the entire civilian was in the war. Entire people was in the war. That's why the Pakistani thought they were hero. They are not. They are bloody coward. I have hit them. They were totally down.
Sir, the students are very keen to know your story behind your gallantry awards. They're time and again messaging in the inbox. So may I request you to kindly tell us the story of that brave action you did, sir, which earned you this award, sir?
Yeah,
I'm sorry I interrupted you, sir.
Not at all. It's not an interruption. You must do it, because I will love your sound to accept, and I will make sure that you get answer. In the sense, where is your student? I don't see them, number one. You must invite me so that I come in front of them and tell them, here I am. I am the man. I have done this. I'm very lucky and fortunate. 2 gallantry awards is nothing at the cost of somebody's life, because the achievement was so great, even the whole Bangladesh cannot, fill it up. One is the most successful planning and defection from the submarine. Who will take the risk of taking out the 45 passports from inside the submarine, near the control room, near the communication? I was also captain secretary of the submarine, and I had a lot of privilege. They trusted me. That's why I'm not going against anybody. Those who were good, but I'm not saying the Hitler was good. I'm not saying the Mirzafar was good. I'm not saying there are many bad people, they were good. But here, the good one, even in Pakistan Navy, everybody used to, so far that I served and came across, they loved me. It's not that for just like that, for the service, for the professionalism. That was always, ahead of everything. Well, second is a successful defection. Because if we all 8 wouldn't have come, the Navy was born there. There was no Navy in Bangladesh. Army had something. Colonel Sajjad will definitely bear me out, because the army had some people, but the Navy, there wasn't any. That was the beginning of Bangladesh Navy. And the same people we were taught, as I was saying, in Delhi, and I'm a demolition expert also. I can blow up the buildings and the bridges and the culvert and the electrical installations and many things. So this part is, up to this part is 1 gallantry. The other gallantry is much higher, because that was definitely a direct, carrying the Lipid Mine. It was a bomb. 5 kg may be small, may not be 100 kg, but it wasn't that small. If it bursts, it makes 8 to 10 feet hole diameter in a ship. That's why we used it against the ship so that the ship sinks immediately. So that the next higher gallantry I got Bir Uttam for the Operation Jackpot. Before that, up to Delhi, after finishing our almost 15 days in Jamuna River and the Qutub Minar area, secretly we came to Palasi on 21st May. I remember these things are all in my vein. It has just been recorded as if I am talking. It is from my record. 21st May, the camp was open. Initially, we for a few days we were inside the bungalow, the dark bungalow, and then the Bhagirathi river side. There is a big land which was acquired, and it was secured by the security armed forces, and the camp was open in coordination with the Indian Navy. There comes the Admiral Nanda. There comes the great Captain Samanta Mahavir Chakra. There comes the late Lieutenant Commander Matis and the Commander Vijai Kapil, Bir Chakra, and the Lieutenant Das, and many others, Nanabus, then the Chaman Singh, and then there were many heroic. They were so tough divers, and they were so tough commando. They trained initially we had a plan to train 500 commandos. So the planning was who all, definitely with the higher people, but we had no consultation. We were told to do this, just did it. No question of denying, because it's my liberation, it's my independence, it's my freedom, it's our country. The sooner I go, I clear our country out of enemy hands and give them a tough lesson, so that they were doing a mistake and they did it, which is not pardonable. Anyway, after the 21st May, June, July, and the 1st August, I don't know, maybe today, I never asked anybody, please choose me as a leader for Chittagong, or choose me for somewhere else, or for Khulna or Mongla. It was, I was in their eyes, and I was spotted. In fact, I used to, also translate the speeches. Lieutenant Commander Martis, time to time, he used to brief the entire commandos. The training was very tough, 18 hours with a swimming costume only. Just lie down on the ground. What a spirit! What a, the Indians has seen us. Indians has known us that Bangladeshis, if the need be, they can become very tough. If the life goes, but for a cause, for motherland, for the people of this land. We have not done any crime. Why should I be, killed just like that? There, on 1st August, I was sent for an Operation Jackpot with 60 commandos. I remember I started from the Bhagirathi Palasi camp for Damdam Airport. After boarded the aircraft, I think it was Air Force, when sit down, just about take off, General Arora came. Today I know he was General Arora. I never met him before. In the camp only, Admiral Nanda came twice, and our General Usmani and some other people important. Once I think the the former Prime Minister Atharuddin Saab, and otherwise the camp was not under any other sector. It was directly under General Usmani. It was not under any other sector commander of Bangladesh. And the General Usmani is the sector commander, the subsector from Bangladeshi, if anybody, it is me for the naval commandos. Because today, I'm bound to say, because the truth is this. That's why I'm saying, because it was on my plan, the rest of the 8 submariners could come with me. And that's why they have become the commando instructors. And later on, they could do the operations. So the planner, I cannot remain anymore hidden, and it cannot be suppressed. And intentionally, those who are keeping it, they are jealous of us, jealous of me. That's why I'm so vocal today. And that is the truth. And now everybody realizes, if the corona catches us, nobody can stop it and nobody can save. So the bloody death is imminent and inevitable. So why not to tell the truth? Usme kya hai? Usme kya hai? You must tell the truth and enjoy your life. Finally, when the General Aurora came and picked my bag, on the right side, I still remember, I looked at him. It was a general, but with turban, I could understand he's a Sikh. And later I realized this man is General Aurora. Great guy. He was the Eastern Commander. But nobody else I met. The plane went, we landed at Agartala. There I met Brigadier Sabik Singh. What is Sabik Singh is another Sikh. He was also great. But I have not stayed with them for a long time. And finally, next morning, but these 60 commandos, the one was a Dr. Shalom Birutom. I taught him how to swim. He was not a swimmer. And I made him that he should be with me as a deputy commander. And he and me, another General Chaudhary at Agartala, used to play 2 songs every day in his tent. And the rest 58, I don't know where they're hiding in their hideouts. In the good hand of the Brigadier Sabik Singh. And the 2 songs every day in a small cassette. You know, those days, the small cassette, the first time possibly like a sponge chappal. small things were coming in this world. As today, you know, the computer I'm using, it is on, actually I had to, beg from my children. Otherwise, I don't have one. So tomorrow when a small computer comes in the pocket, I will buy one, assure you. Anyway, so the 7 days, General Chaudhary, so tall and handsome, he used to play 2 songs. Remember these 2 songs? Ami tomai shuniyechilem joto gaan. This is Pankaj Mullik's. Second song, Amar Putul Ajke Jabe Shoshur Badi. But these 2 songs in this time, in this period, what is the matter? See, the Indians are very cool. They're not killer. They're very cool, methodical, and very sensible and loving. Very loving. That's why he then briefed, will you remember these 2 songs? After 8 days, they bola, sir, this has gone in the vein. How can I forget? How can we forget? But these 2 songs will play your signaling method, because we are not carrying any signaling transmitter receiver with you up to Kornufuli Chittagong port and back. So how will you communicate? These 2 songs will give you the meaning of operations. What is that? First song is 48 hours notice. The second song is 24 hours notice. And both the songs, whenever you catch, will give you the transistor, 6 megahertz, national 3-band transistor given, the leather covered brownie, one to me, one to my deputy leader. But his background is medical student and my background is military. That's why war, 2 types, military war and civil war. I'm in the civil war. Come, I'm in military, added responsibility and after this, he gave the frequencies, 6 megahertz in the morning at so-and-so band, same frequency in the evening, the song will be repeated. Good. If I'm caught ambushed on our way, we were barefooted. Once upon a time, in British time, we had no shoes in our forefathers also. So we were back in the in operation barefooted. And every night on 11th August 1971, entered Harina, Brigadier Sabit Singh, seen of us, and our sector commander, and our other, the political leaders whom we never knew, never met. So 60 commandos entered with limpet mines, 60 limpet mines. Each will have one to put in the ship's body. So 30 miles we used to walk every night. And from that day, the radio was on. So no song came on 11. On 12, no song came on 12. So on 13, we came to a Hindu house and it was a kacha house and he gave us the shelter and slept in the house. And on 13th morning, 6 o'clock, 5 minutes before, when the song came, possibly it was from Akashbani, Calcutta. But today I'm saying, but those days nobody knew from where it was played. So song came. And in the evening, the same song will be repeated. So that means I can confirm. Now go on counting 2 days. If I have received on 13th morning, in the evening again, that means this song was played for us, for me. And 13, 1 day gone, 14, 2nd day gone. In the midnight, I can calculate my hitting time. 14 midnight. My timing comes 14 midnight. 14th August is the Pakistan's big day. They will be busy with their big feast. And 15th August, it is the Indians, big feast. So the 14th August, so what to do? So I have been instructed as soon as I got the signal, please, because we were given assistance by the localites. Locals were always with us. They arranged all our transportation to the city. And from Chittagong, where the Hindu house that I was taking the shelter, from that house, everything safely went to Chittagong, Agrabad area. And from Agrabad, in the evening, I have also arrived with my deputy leader, and I had a bodyguard. I gave my pistol. I said, if I'm caught, you will just shoot me. Because no handing over. Because if you hand over, then I will be punished like I will not be able to, just not. I will not accept. You will shoot. That's the only your job. So we went to in the center of Chittagong city area for a short time and the night stay. There we have done little bit of Reiki. Then I met few engineers. And then from there again, we went for Reiki to the Agrabad area and then found out our boys were kept comfortably. In the evening, 6 o'clock, sitting on the steps, I got the same song again. The first song, it was repeated. So confirm and reconfirm. The hit timing is the 14th August midnight. In 1 hour time, I have to do the hit, otherwise I will miss the bus. So we have done the recce and the meet with the few local leaders. Maulana Sayyid, there used to be a friend of mine, Moinuddin Khan Badal, he became MP also, but unfortunately we lost him, but not in Corona. He was sick, otherwise very recently he passed away, and he was also, he knew, but they have not come with us up to the Kornofuli River. So the next day, 14 morning, it was drizzling, and it went on drizzling, and rain continued whole day, even in the night. We were happy. I was happy because for the divers, for the swimmers, without the apparatus, it is excellent, so that you don't get the any picture or any some sort of sign that the swimmers in the water. So we, on 14, straightway, we allowed everybody to be that side. So among 60, I splitted them into 23 groups. 40 arrived on time, 20 could not. So as such, I cannot wait more than 10 o'clock in the night, because I have to reach by 11:30. I have to assemble again the Lipid Mine. Detonators used to be with me. 60 detonators I carried. I don't know, it is so dangerous today. If I'm given one detonator to carry, I will say, hell, I will not carry that, because it is so dangerous. If it bursts, you will just, you will go up. But in the Liberation War, I think I have angel with me. I had in the Liberation War also, I had some special angel with me all the time, and I got the assistance. And 60 detonators were always with me. Finally, I had to do the operations with 40 commandos. In the night, 11:30, I arrived on the other side of the coast. I'm in the naval jetties opposite and the port jetties opposite. And there, the moment they saw me, the whole lot came, jumped. I said, all right, tonight is the day. Oh, they were jubilant. They said that what a day has come. This is what we were waiting for. Not a single boy, Bangladeshi. What a unique, energetic. I must say the credit to Nanabus, Chaman Singh, and the Captain Samantas and the Vijai Kapils. The Vijay Kapil itself, he brought the Vijay for us, I must say. He is still handsome. I see him today, he looks like, I tell you, he's a great heart, great man, great diver. And they have given their life for our 18 hours solid. 18 hours. We were on the mud, gone to sleep. But the happiness was there. The most important thing in human's life, the world belongs to Almighty, whether you say Allah or not, whether you say Bhagavan or not, whether you say Jesus or not. But Allah cannot be compared with anybody. It belongs to Him. And He will make sure that no injustice is done to His creation, because He will punish. And Pakistanis did not realize. They thought they will remain in this world for forever. They lost the morale. They lost everything today. They still do not repent for their bad deeds, for their wrongdoings. Well, and then at 11:45 in the night, on 14th August, I'm on that side of the river. Now, 20 guys, I left an order in instruction that if they come, hold them, keep them in the shelter, because no time. I cannot wait, because if I have to sink timely, I have to go for even one ship, because that one ship will, once it is sink, it will create a havoc for the shipping line and the shippers. It will create like a rack in the center of the harbor mouth. So finally, 40 commandos, out of 40, 33 commandos were chosen, and 33 mines were carried. I myself, with the first group, with me were Bidhan and Shuttan, two Hindu boys. They were very good swimmers and very good, polite in nature. They were with me, and the rest, 3 in each group, and given them, not that, the meticulously, as far as it was possible on the spot. So they were given the direction, this is your target, and so on. So the 11 targets were chosen. 33 mines were given, and 7 guys were kept on the shore for our safety, on the shore coverage. So we went down 5 to 7 minutes before. We were trained to swim with the current, against the current. This technique is a very special technique. If you know the technique, you reach in time, in a minute, in 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So in our case, we reached the target almost 5 to 6 minutes time. On arrival, the ship's body in 3 places, forward, mid, and the aft, 6 feet below the waterline. All these instructions were given during the training. So they knew that there will be no time. So during the operation, because you may fall in the ambush, you may get scattered. So that's why all these briefings were already given much earlier. So we were carrying the dagger, took out the daggers and it's crashed, and then put the mine 6 feet below the water line. We can hold our breath, more than, almost at times, more than 2 minutes. So your lungs is totally clear. And everybody's tests, lungs very much these days. But all military guys' lungs are always clear. Only when the age comes little bit, that gets rusted, just a little. But we are still, strong enough against this coronavirus. Anyway, so after putting the mine, then take out the pin. The moment you take out, the 30 minutes time, it goes on running. The dilution of the clock to hit the, its mechanism to energize the mine, limpet mine, and then it explodes. So while running back, I was shot from the Chinese rifle from the jetty, the sentry who fired. Finally, we got caught at last leg, but the bullets just passed through by the side. It did not hit. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been here. Professor Kalpana. So that's why I'm saying that I am still alive. I'm very lucky. We have already exchanged good number of messages. It was the Colonel Joshi Saab who told me to only communicate with you, not to him. So I was doing only with you. Anyway, it was so great. Finally, we came back, the place from where I was in the water, and there we all reassembled, and then no time to hold on. We went on running with a swimming costume. We had no dress. We had no suit. We had no blazer or tie that you find in peacetime. I am a leader in crisis. That's the leadership. That's the Indira Gandhi. Leader in crisis. Bongo Bandhu. Leader in crisis is a leader, not in peacetime. Not like Trump, that always red tie. And then he gets his chairs is attacked. His Washington, D.C. is attacked. What sort of is it? Say, so we are leader in crisis, the situation, what it demands. So we behaved. We went on running till next morning, almost before the sunrise. We were near a pondi, Bangladesh, full of river and ponds. So there was a pondi house. So jumped into the pond so that I get washed. And after the wash, we again reshaped ourselves as a shelter in the cow house, near the cow house. And then somebody came in the morning with anesthetized dhuti lungi. Bangladesh is full of lungi. It's very comfortable. And the shirt somebody gave us, I still don't remember. All these as if that I got all the shelter. The umbrella was ready for me. Whether it rains or the sun which is coming to hit, I was always given, looked after. And the message came, Chittagong port was blown up. 33 mines exploded, people fell down from the bed in Chittagong city. And these are limpet mines. This is the history of the Robert Clive's place. Robert Clive never knew that one day the Bangladesh will born here and the naval commandos will take its place with the flag. We used to begin our life with the Tagore song in the Palasi near the Bhagirathi. What a Bhagirathi, you know. Bhagi is the lucky people lives near the Bhagirathi, and we were. And some of our boys used to cry when the national flag used to go up. See the feeling. See, that's why I'm saying again and again, those who came across with us, those who knows us in the war, right from the raw situation, a boy or a girl, what tough they can be. What a, the heroism for the country. This is how I have fought. I got the chance to contribute a little in my participation. I'm lucky I'm still alive. I'm lucky. I'll be more happy if RRU, the very special university to me, or for that matter, any place in India, for that matter, anybody from India, an Indian citizen, I would like to pay them my best respect always, because the amount of respect, the amount of assistance you have given us, and especially to me, to our people, we will continue and look after us. We are the best neighbor of yours. We are the best brother of yours. We are the best country in the world. What a lovely people, Bangladeshis. I tell you, soft, hospitable, lovable. लेकिन आपसे थोड़ा सा कम होगा दिलीप कुमार एंड मधुबाला से, थोड़ा सा उत्तम कुमार एंड सुचित्रा सेन से, but still not less than yours. थोड़ा सा इंदिरा गांधी से, लेकिन फिर भी हसीना has kept us. She brought us. We were almost put in the graveyard and even our liberation history, but she brought us again. And that is how I got the chance to tell you your part, your people must know you have done the right thing for your generation in the university, the people, the boys, the girls, those who are coming now. They must know the history and contribution of the Indian people in our liberation. Your entire West Bengal was given for our refugees. It's a great thing. The England gave us assistance. The Russian gave us assistance. I was surprised. How come the Americans, they got convinced by the bloody Pakistanis? Now they must charge them. They must charge them. They must bring them into a proper shape. Only India is so soft. India made only one mistake. My good friend Mohanan, my good friend of a long time in Cochin, aapne chhod diya 93,000. You shouldn't have. You shouldn't have. That is why the Myanmar has done the wrong thing, and injustice has pushed the Rohingyas in my country. You must come and stand by the side and tell them, take them back. Take them back. We are by the side of yours. Bangladesh will be always by the side of Indians. And you never forget us, Colonel Joshi Saab. Thank you very much, sir, for your kind invitation and allowing me to speak few words before you. I'm sure I have crossed the time. I will not mention. So I know you're smiling. That's your greatness, your lovingness. That's why you are not tough with me. Thank you so much, the Professor Saab. See you and bring me practically, not virtual. Take me to RRU after the virus. And I'm already vaccinated, so don't worry. If need be, the third one is also, you must send us. You could not send the more AstraZeneca, but I wish India to recover soon. Very sorry for the Indians. Lot of, we lost lives. Very sorry. Very sorry. We could not do anything, but I pray Allah will keep us, you and us, always happy and have faith on him. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. That was a very enlightening talk, and we heard you live on the how you have gone about and the operations. They were very, very fascinating. Now we move on to your counterpart, Commander Vijai P. Kapil, who is the Veer Chakra, Nausena Medal, Gallantry. He joined the Indian Navy in 1966 as a direct entry sub-lieutenant in the executive branch, and he completed his initial training, and he was selected to clearance diving course in HMV Vernon Royal Navy and commissioned in mine clearing diving officer in the early 1970s. He established the Fleet Clearance Diving Team Western Naval Command in April 1971, and then he was called upon to do special duties. And he did a wonderful job during the war. I will let him speak on the war. A few words about him. After the war, Vijay Kapil was awarded Veer Chakra for his service and performance during the war. Following these duties, he was appointed Officer in Charge, Command Clearance Diving Team and Command Diving Officer, Western Naval Command. In 1973, he was posted as instructor at the Diving School, Cochin, and soon after, he was selected to undergo anti-submarine warfare course. After a second specialization in 1974, he carried out 2 appointments on board INS Amba and INS Arnala as ASW officer. In 1976, he was awarded the Nausena Medal Gallantry for diving operations carried out at the port of Bhavnagar, Gujarat. The same year, he was appointed as Assistant Director of Combat Policy and Tactics of the Naval Headquarters to look after the diving branch of the Indian Navy. In 1979 to 80, he commanded missile ship INS Vidyut and was promoted to rank of commander. In 1981-82, he was commanded INS Abhimanyu and the premier diving establishment of the Indian Navy. After 1982 to 1986, he was Chief Staff Officer to the Naval Officer in Charge, Calcutta. In 1987-88, he was posted to the Naval Headquarters as Deputy Director Diving, and in early 1989, he sought premature retirement to pursue civilian career. As the first officer, he gone on ground to initiate the established training process and the camp C2P, which was established for the recruitment training process, etc. I will let him speak about all those experiences he had in 1971 war. Sir, over to you for your part of today's webinars. Over to Commander Vijai P. Kapil. Sir, I think you have to unmute yourself, sir. We can't hear you, sir.
Okay, fine. Right, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. We can hear you now.
Yeah, thank you, Colonel Joshi, and thank you for the faculty members of School of Military Affairs. Very interesting talk by AW, as ever, very interesting story. Every time I hear, it's more and more fascinating. I see Colonel Sajjad, who's an encyclopedia on the liberation affair events in Bangladesh. And I also see that you were speaker in Mr. Atharuddin Talukder, who's taken part in the almost towards the fag end of the commando operations. Now, I'll try to be precise and try to finish the talk earlier because I think we are overshooting our time. So I'll straight away get down to the events which happened after these welcome guests of ours from the ex-Pakistan submarine came to Delhi. The moment they landed in Delhi, Director of Naval Intelligence took charge of him. I would like to put this little slide there to show the hierarchy, how it started. So slide number 1, please, if I can have, you have on your screens now. You can see Admiral Nanda, you can see Captain Mihir Roy, who was the Director of Naval Intelligence, and you can see Commander Samant. They were the brains and the planners of the whole operation. We, the divers, can I have the next slide, please? The divers in the camp, Lieutenant Commander Martis, self, and Lieutenant Sameer Das were at the executing end of the training curriculum and workup. We also, can I have the third slide, please? We had these 6 senior experienced diving sailor instructors who were the backbone of the whole camp. Now, what we didn't have was, and didn't have in the Indian Navy, was unarmed combat because the Naval Commando in the Indian Navy didn't exist at that time. Marcos, which are now the Naval Commandos, came subsequently after the success of these operations in 1971 by the Bangladesh Mukti Bahini Naval Commandos. So I'll revert back to the event when these people came to Delhi. Lieutenant Sameer Das and leading seaman Bhattacharya was called to Delhi because both were Bengali speaking. They were posted in diving school at that time to interact, engage, and evaluate these 8 gentlemen who had fallen into our laps and provide us the opportunity to think in terms of enhancing the Mukti Bahini efforts towards the larger interest of Bangla Bandhu. Now, after a week or so, I think after a discussion with Lieutenant Das, Captain Roy wanted more people and establish a team which could train these people. So I came into the scene of in about last week of, or the 3rd week of April. I was called Calcutta and met Admiral Roy there. And we had a discussion. Das was around there. He explained what he really wanted. And he was already told, and he wanted to hear again, I guess, that why these people could not be trained into underwater swimmers. So with the complications of the training schedule and the underwater illnesses involved and a whole lot of things which come with the underwater swimming, it was decided that it will be the surface swimmers who will be trained, will be highly trained, and would be used as the main weapon delivery system for the Bangladeshis, or for the freedom movement. Now, to that end, now it was a task that we had to choose a site for the camp, train them, form the training curriculum, selection criteria. So it all fell into our laps. And I being even though Das was my course, I happened to be the civil sub-lieutenant courses and all that. You awarded some seniority and all that, so you become a week, 10-day senior. It means nothing. But when it comes to a hierarchy of the Navy and the responsibility, then you're given the responsibility of your seniors. So I was made an officer in charge of the project to set up the camp. And Das and me had a tremendous rapport together because he was not only the course batchmate of mine in the Navy, we also did the course together at in HMS Vernon, and he was an excellent diver. He came out with flying colors from there. So he was a tremendous chap to have alongside you to take up this project. So we were put under the Army organization. And at that time, in charge of the Muktijoddhas training and providing arms and ammunition was something called the Operation Jackpot. The Operation Jackpot was headed by a gentleman called General Calcutta, based in Calcutta and Fort Williams. So we came there, met him, and we already had our instructions from the Navy. And naval hierarchy was pretty straight. It was, till then, it was the big man, Admiral Nanda, the DNI, and me to start with. So all the information was very easily disseminated. Orders were given. And it was a classic example of keeping the secrecy, because the shorter the chain of command, better it is for everybody. And the things move faster, the equipment and the manpower comes easy. So since this effort had to be away from the prying eyes, we were put under the Army for Logistics Support. And Jackpot organization has set up 6 sectors of the Army under a brigadier, that Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta Echo Foxtrot. So we put under Charlie sector, Brigadier Salek, and his brigade major was Major Roy Chaudhary, J.K. Roy Chaudhary, who later became Chief of the Army Staff. And he was a very informed and a very decent man. I mean, he came to Calcutta, me, Das, and Major Chaudhary. He used to take us in his vehicle all over the place where we wanted to go and see the sites, down to the Diamond Harbour, to other places around Calcutta. Then eventually we could find a proper training spot. The criteria being that it should be having moderate currents where we could train very easily, currents which the boys are going to find in Bangladesh, and there was a scope for expansion if required, because Navy Admiral Nanda always thought big. He always thought out of the box. He thought big, and he was a courageous man. So whenever he thought something, he wanted a full operation in a full strength and full earnestness. So there was, I was told that there should be a scope for expansion. I mean, not that every time I was told that this is the whole plan. We were giving piecemeal information. Typical spy master, Captain Roy, who will give you feed in the right information at the right time, and you go ahead with the job. So eventually, we couldn't find anything in 2-3 days. So Major Roy Chaudhary at that time said that I know of a place which is very near the headquarters of our brigade, and I think it'll be easier to support you there. So he took us to Krishnanagar, and there was a sugar mill which was lying abandoned because of the partly off season, but partly because it's strike there. So we went there and we found that this was the ideal place. It was a huge expanse of land there, where acres of land available. There was no village in sight, and the Bhagirathi River was just flowing alongside. So we immediately felt that, this is the right place, and we said, fine, we go ahead and we set up our camp here. So that's how this camp was started. The action for setting up and organizing the whole thing started. And so at Second Sikh Alive, which was a station nearby, was the parent unit who gave us the administrative support in terms of tentage, in terms of transport, the cooks, the utensils, and everything. We just came there the 8 of us, I must say that me, Das, and the 6 sailors, without anything, without even a suitcase, because we were called in post-haste. We just came with our little airbags, it used to be called. There were no trolleys at those times. So we just came there and we started getting down to the business. So first thing was to put the tent so that we could move in there. In the meantime, we stayed in the Palasi guest house. The tent was set up, the tentage was down, and a cook was given, the utensils were sent, the rations were sent by 2nd Sikhalai, and we were almost sufficient for all the basic needs. Then started the requirement of selection of the volunteers. Now there were Mukti Bahini camps all over. There were refugee camps all over. But the ideal situation, we were told to go to the Mukti Bahini camps where the volunteers for Mukti Bahini were already there. So me and Das, we went in 2 directions and started looking for the right volunteers. The criteria for selection for these volunteers was we needed education of these volunteers, which was reasonable. They could understand the language. They could sort of understand realities of the training. They could understand the instructions of explosives and firearms and other things. They could understand the map reading. They could understand what we had to tell them about the escape and evasion. So these were the basic requirement of their education background and the background for second aspect was the aptitude. They should have the aptitude to be in the water for a long time and sustain themselves there. Then they should have enthusiasm amongst them. Motivations come much later. Unless that chap is enthusiastic about the training and why the training is being conducted, the attention span will be very low. The other thing was the selection of people, special emphasis. The selection of people, special emphasis had to be paid to the people from different geographical locations within East Pakistan, because the simple reason that in East Pakistan, if you go from people, the language dialect changes very drastically. It's a small country, but it does happen. So it was basically for the reason that when you are launching these people for the job, if they're caught, they can get away. Also, when they're around before the attack, waiting for the D-Day, they should not be standing out like sore thumbs in the local crowd if they're seen around. Normally, they was supposed to keep themselves scarce from the prying eyes. Then they should have the medical fitness of the basic level to be good swimmers and able to carry out the job. What we didn't have at that time was the instructor in the unarmed combat, as I told you earlier, which we requested the army, and they sent a gentleman called Naik Mane, who was an excellent man to instruct people and the students how to use your bare arms and the available resources to overcome the sentries or the enemy or catch them unawares and things like that. These techniques, I must admit that we didn't know at that time. And 8 of our boys in this aspect, we picked up a lot of things there. So once all this happened, the volunteers were subjected to all these tests and all that. They started coming into the camp. The camp was basically set in the tentage and all that by the camp. The camp was basically set in the tentage and all that by very early days of May. Due to some hiccups and some problems, the camp, more resources and other things were required. Chief of the Naval Staff and DNI made a surprise visit along with General Arora to the camp on, I think, in the first week of May. And that really helped us, firstly, to motivate our own instructors, us, and to tell our support Army groups that we are serious about the thing. We are serious about the effort, which was very essential at that stage. So things move absolutely smoothly thereafter. So the first batch of the volunteers did arrive. It was about 60 volunteers who were selected. They came by about 10th or 12th or 13th of May. And this is the time when the 8 submariners, ex-submariners of Mangro, were called to Palasi at that time. And they were found very suitable and very amicable. They were very keen. They were very enthusiastic. And of course, they had left the submarine just for the freedom fight. They were very handy with us to motivate the youngsters, the new volunteers. They were very handy in translating our instructions because, mind you, we had only 2 Bengali gentlemen in our whole training team. Samir Das and, 3 of them, MS Gupta and Bhattacharya. Rest of us were non-Bengali speaking people. So to translate our instructions and our talks, these people really did a tremendous job. And they were the great motivating factor for the youngsters because they looked up upon them and said, okay, these are the people who really have left everything for the freedom struggle. So the training started in earnestness, say about 14th, 15th, 16th of May. And the training process thereafter, having set up the criteria, was passed on. We never did repeat going to the camp. During the visit of Chief at that time and the DNI and General Arora, one thing they told me and that they have decided to induct 2 senior officers in the whole effort. One at the level of Eastern Command, that is under General Arora, and second at the camp, a lieutenant commander, so that the liaison with the Army becomes much easier, which was a very tremendous move. I think it was it eased out a whole lot of problems. Captain Sarman joined by end May. His first visit in the camp was in the first week of June when the training was already going on. The second officer, Lieutenant Commander Martis, joined the camp in first week of June. And it was, in fact, it was quite a relief to have him as an officer in charge because officers in charge have a lot of work which really helps us with the training. It's with the liaison with the Army people, the administration of the camp, the all kinds of things, liaison with the civil authorities, liaison with other people. So we were left completely for the training effort. During the visit of Captain Samant in, I think, the first week of June, he saw the training. He saw the boys, these volunteers were quite weak and, not exactly malnourished, but almost there. And to push them to the extent what we wanted to push them in the training curriculum was considered a task. So he immediately went back and authorized extra ration in form of glucose, meat, eggs, and a whole lot of things like we in the Navy, the divers have it. So within about 3-4 weeks, it showed the dividend and result. And we saw that boys could really sort of filling up and, getting healthier and keeping more hours without feeling drowsy or sleepy and things. So that was plus point. And of course, Lieutenant Colonel Martis being a senior diver, always it's much better to have senior people with their experience. The things move much better and much smoother. The ammunition for the training was being supplied again by the Army. The other tool of the trade we required was the fins. Can I have the slide with the fins and the limpet mine, please? Yeah. So on the left side, you would see the swimming fins, which were issued to each of the volunteer and the trainee. Alongside is the swimming trunk, which was a standard issue given to them. And that was the uniform and the day and night wear for everybody in the camp. So, and the right side, you see the two semi-hemispherical objects of the size of football. They are the limpet mines. On the bottom, you've got a cutaway portion of the limpet mine where it shows what the components and other things are. This is just to get the audience the idea that what it was. So can I have the slide of the Bangladesh map, please? Thank you. And now I'll come down to the training once the training was seen by Captain Samant, Commander Samant, and he went back. First thing was he authorized the extra ration issued, and those started coming in. Second was to augment the fins and the limpet mines with the tools of the trade. And for that, and the third thing he did was that he appointed one of the submarine cadre underwater medical specialist, I think he was Lieutenant Ibrahim, Surgeon Lieutenant Ibrahim, to go and do the selection of the people. So it took a whole lot of load on us in the camp, because the selection criteria was already established. The first batch had already come, and with this background, the officer went around, did a tremendous job, and we started getting the volunteer hordes thereafter every week, every 15 days. The diktat given to us by our hierarchy was that they want the training to be completed in 3 weeks' time of a batch, and thereafter the workup starts. So every batch was being churned out in 3 weeks. The training curriculum was another thing which was very, very intense. It was building of the physical endurance. For that, it was the morning runs and the jogs, which started from 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers, and ended up in 10 kilometers at the end of the training. It is swimming with the fins and without the fins. With the fins, there's a tremendous propulsion you get underwater, so that you move pretty fast and you can maneuver yourself pretty well. But swimming without the fins really gives you the stamina and the confidence level in staying in the water for a long duration. Then training and swimming in strong currents, swimming at night, the swimming with weights. Once they become good swimmers, it was swimming with weights, and the weights was given in form of bricks. 1 brick or 2 brick you had to carry. All the trainees had to carry from place A to place B, or at least for 1 hour of swimming. And this was done because they had to carry the limpet mine eventually. So there'll be weight of the limpet mine and the explosive. So they should be adapt to this particular aspect of it. Then there was map reading, though it was not used very much in the real operations, but it was the map reading of the Army kind, where you read the land maps. The unarmed combat, which I talked about earlier, the explosive ordnance training, including small arm fires, the grenades, the plastic explosive, the shape charges, and the handling of the limpet mine, the instruction, escape, and evasion. That once you carry out an attack, how to get out of it. And when you are putting the limpet mine or whatever it is, which portion of the ship or the installation you've got to fix these mines to obtain the maximum amount of damage. So this was a training curriculum, and all these instructors, I must say, our instructors, and then the 8 submariners would come in, A.W. Chaudhary and his gang. They all acted as instructors, pretty good ones, with the boys all the time, and carrying out the workup for themselves also, because eventually they had to lead. So this went on, and I think by end of June, July, we had already churned out about 200 plus or 250 odd volunteers into lean, mean fighting machines. I mean, they were strong, they had stamina, they knew what to do. And the dates and timing and all that were, as usual, is always kept to the hierarchy, and it is in the form of secret letters or the information which is kept sealed with the unit commanders to be opened only when the executive command comes from top. So these things were not known to us or to anybody for the reasons security and other things. In our camp, there were also a couple of intelligence people from the local intelligence bureau who went around as civilians, as academic teachers and things like that, who really kept an eye on all the happenings to check if there is a activity which is going on which can be detrimental to the training or to the security of the whole effort. And this was directly under the officer in charge, and these guys used to report and take the instructions from the officer in charge. So we had a pretty watertight kind of system going there. Now, I think we are running short of time. I'll just run through pretty quickly. I'll cut the long story short now. I'll come to the thing that after all this training and all that, I just want to touch upon the Finns and the Lipid Mine story. The Finns and the Lipid Mines both were in tremendous shortage with the Indian Navy itself, because this kind of a warfare was never thought of earlier. And it was only for our training and what was for a very limited use. So we didn't even have, I think, even 100 Lipid mines operational in the whole Navy. We didn't have even more than 150, 200 Finns in the whole Navy. And they were all imported items. So we had a big task of indigenizing them. And which, I must say, our Directorate of Naval Armament and they did a tremendous job. Firstly, we found a local source in Calcutta. One of the ex-deep diving officers of the Indian Navy had opened up indigenization workshop of the rubberized items for the diving related items in Calcutta itself. So it was just next door. We contacted them and we got them to produce the fins post haste and good material and good quality, so that they don't pack up when these naval commanders in Bangladesh go in for the operation. The Lipid Mine, again, was something which was very high priority was accorded, and Lieutenant Samir Das was given the mandate to liaise with the Director of Naval Armament to develop the rudimentary mine. So this rudimentary mine was, we did away with a lot of this weight and the actuating mechanism of this saved us a couple of, I think about 500 grams to a kilo of weight in a mine, so that we could fill it more with explosive. We put a very simple soluble plug kind of a solution there, which we put in the water, and it dissolves within the actuating mechanism gets active within about half an hour, which is sufficient time for the chap who's going to attack the ships to escape. And we had a problem of soluble plug, that how, if it dissolves, then what happens? Will the life of the naval commando be jeopardized? So for that, a very simple solution was found. We just put a condom in front, on top of the soluble plug, and it just had to be removed before the naval commander put the mine and escaped from there. And they were produced in sufficient numbers that we never felt the shortage for the boys which are sent for operation, as well as for the training. The other explosives like plastic explosives and other things for the training, and tons of weight was given by the Army on our request, and we used it in the camp for the training. So I don't have much time with this. Then we get down to the story of famous AW, when he took his people there to attack in Chittagong. He has already told you the story. At that time, it was decided that the attack in Bangladesh would be, or East Pakistan would be, at 4 places. This had the consideration for these offensive was obviously based on the situation appreciation of the, like in the normal military terms. For that, we had if you see the map, can we have the map again, please? Of the East Pakistan. If you see the top left picture, it is the map in blue of East Pakistan. It is completely surrounded by the land, mostly by India, and a bit by Myanmar down in the south. The other map on the right side is the map of East Pakistan again, which Muktijoddhas and General Usmani, when he became the CNC of the forces in exile, had divided the country in 10 sectors. 1 to 9 were the land sectors, and 10 sector was left blank, which was the section from the sea. So now I will come down to the factors in consideration of our attack of the East Pakistan by these naval commandos. Firstly, it was the landlocked country. So India, if you see the Indian portion of Tripura extends like a finger into the territory, which is Agartala, right? And things. So it was much easier to induct people, inducting from the eastern side for places like Chittagong, which Commodore Chaudhary led. The other 3 sectors, which was other three places where it was decided, was the Chandpur and it was Chandpur, Narayanganj, and Khulna, Mungla, Chalna area. Now the in charge for the Chandpur was again one of the 8 submariners called Baidul Alam. For Narayanganj, it was Hasanullah, and for Khulna, Chalna, Mungla area, it was Rahmatullah. Ramtullah and Count Chaudhary had 60 boys each, while the other two had 20 boys each in the first wave. The other factors which were there was to consider was that the air route to the East Pakistan was completely denied to the Pakistanis after the hijacking of the Indian airline aircraft from Srinagar to Lahore in January of 1971. So the air route available to Pakistan was only through Sri Lanka. The terrain itself was completely riverine, so it had to base on the riverine traffic to supply the logistics and transport the personnel, troops, ammunition, anything you call, through the lighter aircrafts. There were draft restrictions being Chittagong and Challa Mungla area in the Pusar River on the western side. These areas were had to be tackled if you could damage the river. Tackle if you could damage the riverine traffic and in the ports. The whole attack, as Commodore Chaudhary told you, was based on two songs. I think we've got a little specimen of those songs. If you can play them, please. So it'll be interesting for the audience to hear those. The warning song and the... Have you got them handy?
Sir, just a second, you're playing it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so while the yeah. AW still gives you booze pimples.
Good, good.
And the other one, the warning song. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Very, very good. The men and women can separately sing for us.
Warning and discussion. You know it better. Right. So when they were
excellent.
Excellent. I will not talk about the operations itself because Commodore Chaudhary has already talked about it. I will just move on to the aftermath of the attack. Can we have a little picture of the damage of the ships in Chittagong Harbour, please? I must say the maximum damage had taken place in Chittagong, which was led by the famous Commodore sitting here. Yeah, this a couple of slides there. The two ships which sank in Chittagong Harbour. The paper cuttings alongside on the right side, which the international papers and the local papers, they all said that how the Muktijoddhas guerrillas attacked those. And they were taken completely by surprise with that attack. They had no inkling that this kind of attack was coming. It was a bolt in the blue for the Pakistanis. With the result, the tactical advantage and the operational advantages which you got out of this were that towards the end of July, the Muktijoddhas land forces which were fighting against the Pakistanis were really pushed into the Indian territory. The morale was pretty low. It was because the Pakistanis, right from I think May onwards, started inducting more troops to East Pakistan. They had about a division and a half of troops in East Pakistan at that time. That increased to about 2.5 divisions. So one extra division came in within about a month to 2 months in there. Some came by air, some came by ship. And these helped in pushing the Mukti Bahini land forces offensive right back to the border area. Now, that was the first aspect. Second was the moment this happened, the Pakistanis realized that the vigilance effort in the ports has to increase. It has to increase tremendously to at least deduct the some of the subsequent attacks by the naval commandos. So almost a division of strength was pulled out, as it said, from the border areas and the areas near the border, the towns near the border and the cantonments there, back to the harbors and the seaports and to the river and traffic ports, where they could put more vigilance in every moving ship. And there were hundreds of ships of smaller tonnage. 1 minute, please. I think the comp is giving a problem. Oh, God. Yeah. Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, sir, we can hear you loud and clear.
Right, fine. So, that was a big advantage. And then towards the, from after the mid-August, towards the end of August, the Mukti Bahini land forces did really make a tremendous progress in their endeavors. The second big advantage was that, with the Chittagong disaster, the interest rates of the marine cargo and the marine traffic went up tremendously. From the Lloyd's insurance of, say, about 5 shillings a pound, 5 shillings a ton, to it went up to £1 a ton. And subsequently, the charges of the ship every day, say, Chittagong, increase up to about $10,000, $100, something like that, to that tune. And the crew pay increased a lot because the damages which the naval commandos caused created havoc in the insurance and the mercantile marine world. So that was another advantage, that both that was the economic kind of a blow which you gave to the East Pakistan. And so with these advantages, I think the Mukti Bahini effort really caught momentum, came up. So I will cut short this presentation on the Naval Commando bit. I was told to cover the other two operations called Hot Pants and the Force Alpha. Hot Pants, I will take very, very short time in this. I know we are exceeding the time. So if I have the permission of the faculty there, I'll go ahead.
Yes, sir, please go ahead. So we are eager to listen to you, sir.
Right, so I'm being brief. I've cut down a whole lot of details of this Naval Commando training and the operation also, because shortage of time, which can come up in the question answer if there is time. People can ask me what were questions, and I'll try and answer to whatever I know. The second operation, big operation simultaneously, which was being planned not simultaneously. It started, the roots of this came in after the August attack and the success thereof. And the hierarchy thought, as I said, that our chief was a dynamic man and he always thought big. So he said, why not do some more kind of a dedicated effort. At that time, Bangladesh government exile was based in Calcutta. They had requested, also they were requesting for the marine crafts for making effort with the deserters of the Pakistan Navy of the Bangladeshi region, man them and try to tackle the riverine routes. So it was decided that the two crafts, I think if they dedicate and give it to the Muktijoddhas government in exile, we could achieve a lot. For that, the preparation started, I think, in early September or end August. I'm not very sure of it because I was not part of the whole system. At that time, the dissemination of information and plans and other things were limited to 3 people, as I told you: the Chief of the Naval Staff, the DNI, and the pivotal point, the most important link was Captain Samant sitting in Fort William, who had 3 bosses. He used to joke that I have got 3 mother-in-laws to please. One was General Arora, one was our own naval hierarchy, and third was Colonel Mag Usmani, who was the CNC of the Bangladesh forces in exile. So he was a bit of a juggler, and he did pretty well. So it was only known to him at that time. I think Calcutta Port Trust was persuaded to donate 2 crafts. These were the utility craft of the Calcutta Port Trust, which really were authorized and built to operate within the limits of Hooghly River, which is about 140 kilometers up to the sand heads. Now, these 2 boats were just civilian boats with no armament, no nothing. It didn't have anything, any navigation laid out except the magnetic compass, which had also not sunk for a long time because navigation within the Hooghly River was with the boys and with the pilots who were very well experienced. And not even an echo sounder was there. So quickly, another piece of innovation by the Navy, like first one was the Lipid Mine. Phenomenal was the armament for these 2 crafts. First being the guns. Now the guns was the most important thing for the riverine warfare. We didn't have the naval guns in stock. So where did we go? We went to the Army, BSF, and we found that there were 2 guns which could be spared by the BSF, forward burn and rear, forecastle and quarterdeck. Forward burn and rear, forecastle and quarterdeck. So, and the second innovation was, which is again thinking out of the box, was the mines. We were talking about the big mines, and the big mines, India again didn't have the mines which could be spared. Now, these mines which I'm talking about are the mines of the type which are the anti-shipping mines, which are very heavy, which carry about 20 kgs of explosive or maybe more. And there come in 2 varieties. One is the floating mine or the contact mine, which they call also, and the other ones are the influence mines which lay on the bottom. So we had a problem there. Now, Captain Roy, being an aviator and being the first commanding officer of the LSE squadron on board Vikrant when it was commissioned, they were trained in these mines, and the aircraft LSE can lay 1 influence mine at a time. So his brain ticked, and both were in the team, in the hierarchy, and they were brilliant people. The people who could make use of the opportunity and the available resources pretty smoothly, pretty well, and pretty effectively. So it was again an ode to these senior officers. So these mines were thought of, and they said, why can't we lay these mines? But these boats. So sure enough, he said, we're going to lay it. A lot of risk in the terms of stability factor of a ship which goes into the deeper waters, because they're not made to carry this kind of a load of 2 guns and the mines. So mine rails were put in both the boats. Both the boats by in September they were almost ready. At that time, the commanding officers were appointed. The commanding officer of the first commanding officer to arrive on scene was a hydrographer by profession, very capable man, and he was selected again. And unfortunately, he couldn't come out, or whatever it is. And it would have been ideal if he gave this presentation and got into the whole gambit of the operations and how they did it. But maybe the next time he would be available and give you the full picture. So by September, he was appointed as commanding officer. The second commanding officer in form of Lieutenant Chaudhary, and a gunnery specialist, an instructor in gunnery school at that time, was selected, and he was put in the ship called Palash, the ship which Mitra commanded was Padma. So Padma and Palash were 2 ships which were given to the Bangladesh Navy in exile. Now, we had a lot of sailors to spare from the deserters from the Pakistan Navy, which were based in Bakhtiar. I think from Bakhtiar they came and were available with us in Calcutta. And they were well trained. They knew the tricks of the trade. They were from all the branches. So they were positioned. There were about 45 of them at that time. And this crew of the ship was about 20, including 1 officer. So unfortunately, the officer here, I'd like to emphasize something going out of the subject, that the whole effort of this Mukti Bahini, naval commandos, and the shipborne heroes of Bangladesh, we didn't have a single officer in Bangladesh Navy. I mean, the Navy, officer coming out from Pakistan, starting from there and joining the Navy. So as far as we are concerned, especially we are a little biased also for C2P, which was a Palasi camp. We think that the EH submariners are the nucleus of Bangladesh Navy. So since there were no officers, Indian naval officers were again deputed there. So that's how Mitra and Roy Chaudhary came to be the commanding officers of these boats. The crew of them, both of them, was completely Bangladeshi crews, trained, and some untrained naval commandos were put in there. The ships started their workup, the trials and workup. Gentlemen would know that ship, once it's ready, it needs trials and it needs workup before it is operationally ready. So by say October, mid-October, end October, they were based at Haldia, which was called as Camp C2H. C stands for camp, like in Plasi. 2 stands for the service, and H is Haldia, P was Plasi. So, we had 2 camps now of the Navy, C2H and C2P. Now, C2H were now heating up, and they had their ammunitions put in. They had the gun trials. They had their mine rails put in. They had the mines stored on board. And by about, I think, early November, Navy started how them big dent on the effort of Bangladesh liberation by denying the sea route again. Making the sea route difficult. So these two ships. Oh my God, this battery is dying down. All right, I'll just finish this in case I get cut off. I'll come back again in 2 minutes. Now, it was decided that they will go to Pusar River, which is Challa Kulla Mongla area stretch, similar channel like Hooghly River. Go up there and lay the mines in the entrance to the channel where all the ships pass through. So they laid the mines on the 10th of November. And it straight away showed the dividends. By 11th, the ship sank, and by 14th, a couple of ships sank and damaged. 14th, the Kulla port was declared as shut. So it was a tremendous blow again to the Pakistani forces that they were denied the sea route once again. Chittagong had opened up a bit after clearing the anchorage and other things after the 15th August attack, but Challa Mongla Kulla area was completely shut down. So there was a tremendous kind of a success there. I'm not going into the details because I think there is no time. I'll quickly shift over to the Force Alpha. Now, as you see, these two attacks on the East Pakistan were way before the war was declared. 15th August 71 was about 4 months before 3rd of December when the war was declared. This particular effort by the gunboats in mining the Pusar River was in November, and almost a month before. So these were much before. So these two operations were really for the Indian Navy also. These were the two operations with a great success, and with that, the Navy cut its teeth. The Indian Navy cut its teeth with those two operations. Till then, it has not seen the war in the real sense. If we see in 64, 62 and 65 operations, the Navy had a very limited role. And with this, the confidence of the Navy went up, the morale of the Navy itself went up, and they, even though a lot of people didn't know that how it happened, because it was all under wraps, and that's how the secrecy was maintained. That's how East Pakistan didn't know when they were hit and how they were hit till they were hit. So it was a great success. Now, after the declaration war on 3rd of December, the Indian Armed Forces, the Army was doing very well. And it was a support operation in aid of the Army. The East Pakistani Armed Forces had created certain strongholds around Dhaka, Jessore being one of them. Now I'm limiting myself to the particular areas because I just want to talk about the Force Alpha and sort of quickly finish it. So Force Alpha, by 6th or 7th of December, the Jessore area was giving a lot of resistance to the Indian effort of penetrating from there and marching towards Dhaka. So in that, the General Jacob thought that it would be nice if our gunboats could go and play up a little merry hell and do some disruptive kind of activity in Pusar River. So this will lower the morale of the armed forces and the general sympathizers of the Pakistan at that time. So that's how the whole Force Alpha was conceived. It consisted of another ship was added to these Padma and Palash called INS Panwal. That was a naval ship, proper naval ship, commanded by JP and Arona. Now, in the picture, in the screen, you would see on the left, extreme left, is the Lieutenant Commander Arona, who's being decorated by the President Mahavir Chakra. He was commanding officer of Panwal. Commanding officer of Palash was Lieutenant Commander Roy Chaudhary on the extreme right, again during the investiture, the photograph. And the one in the middle is Lieutenant Mittar, again investiture at that time. At that time, there was no facility to take the photographs. Photographing was taboo, as Commodore Roy Chaudhary brought out earlier, that we didn't have the gadgets which could fit in the arm and in your palm and do everything. So we had to have a dedicated gadget called camera to take that. And since photographs being taboo at that time, we don't have any photographs of C2P and other activities. So we can't, and that was for the security reasons. So that's why we can't have any display anything in these presentations. So now coming back to the Force Alpha. Force Alpha assembled at, I was available to, unfortunately, Lieutenant Das died in one of the earlier recce's of launching points and others in Tripura, and with one of the Mukti Mine invasions in September in a road accident. So we lost him pretty early during the campaign. So Lieutenant Das was not available there. So it was Lieutenant Martis in the camp and as a specialist officer and me, and there was another officer got in October because Lieutenant Martis was finding it difficult to run the camp. B.S. Thakur, who later became a diving specialist. So Sub-Lieutenant Thakur and Commander Martis were pulled out late in November for the Eastern Fleet for the impending landing operation in Cox's Bazar to do the beach clearance with the divers. So certain instructor staff of ours and Lieutenant Martis went on board the ships of Eastern Command for this landing operation, and they had boarded there. So they had left the camp by about end November. I came back in the scene in about late November, so attached with Captain Samant, and camp had no activity at that time. It was being wound up because all the Mukti commandos which were trained were sent to the sector commanders to use them for attacking the targets of opportunity. Here I'd like to clarify again about the commando attack of 15-16th November, that 15-16th August attack was the only coordinated attack. The rest of the attacks were all targets of opportunity and as decided by the sector or sub-sector commander, who had the naval commandos at his disposal and the Lipid Mines at his disposal, supplied by us. So now coming back here, that's me and Chaman Singh was available. Chaman Singh had also come back from his foray in East Pakistan. With the Mukti Mine he had gone, and he was available. So Captain Salman took us, both of us, to Hasnabad, where these three boats were docked at that time and fueling and ammunitioning done for this Force Alpha. And there in the journey from Fort William to Hasnabad by road, he explained us all things. And as I said, that it's all no need to know basis. So at that time, he told what the whole thing about and what this campaign, what this particular operation would be about. So by Hasnabad we came, and then we, I think we cast off from there in 6th of November, I think we things. Yeah, I think about 6th of December. whatever briefing Capt Samant had to do was done. He was based on the, kind of embarked on board INS Panwal being the naval ship, he being the senior naval officer. He embarked there. He sent two of us divers, one Chaman Singh to Padma and me to Palash with our diving gear. The other naval commandos trained by us, 4 or 5 were taken around by with us to these 2 ships. The support staff of the Padma Palash, 2 officers, Lieutenant Nathu and Lieutenant Commander Raizada, also boarded the ships. Raizada, Palash, and Nathu and Bandyopadhyay in Padma. So these ships went and sailed. We sailed through, didn't go through the normal route of going to Sandheads and coming to Pusar River up. We cut across by the old route of the khals. These khals are the tidal waterways in the Sundarbans. So for that, we had to take the guides who knew these khals pretty well. So in these khals, again, I'm going to cut it very short. We went to the Gharani Khal. Gharani Khal is the always on the mouth of Pusar River near Akram Point. So we reached the Akram Point and Gharani Khal in say, I think about 8th or 9th of 8th, and 8th night, Captain Samant, because there were no radar in the boats except Panwell. So Panwell picked up 2 radars, which were which were going out of harbor, all darkened, so one couldn't see them. At the radar picked up, and these turned out to be 2 ships called Anwar Baksh and Bakir, which were going and leaving harbor. We had limited speed, we had limited fuel, so Captain Samant decided not to pursue these ships and warned the Eastern Fleet that these 2 ships are leaving, and he suspects there's some escapees are there, people escaping there. So they're to be intercepted. So they were eventually intercepted and on both the boats by the Eastern Fleet. However, our main aim was to go to Chalna, where the main deeper anchorage was there, Mongla and Chalna. There we found that Mukti Mine had already, land forces had already sort of occupied a lot of places, and the shore guns were sort of neutralized, and they were up on the towards Khulna side. They had chased them there. Now, we saw in Khulna there were a lot of ships which were on fire on the trots, and they were tied up in the anchorage. So we boarded a couple of ships to find out there's some maps, some plans, or something we could locate, or something important for our operation. But even though me and Chaman Singh boarded these ships, 3-4 of them, we could not find anything. Thereafter, we proceeded towards Khulna. Unlike there, we had a very unfortunate incident. Unlike when we reached near Khulna, it was the Razakars and some of the paramilitary forces of the Pakistani army started fighting on these boats, and we were tackling them. In the meantime, some of the aircrafts appeared on the scene. 3 aircrafts, Nats. Within minutes, they were on our tail, and we recognized them as the Indian Air Force planes, but somehow they missed it, in spite of our warning signals on the ships. And they destroyed Padma. They destroyed Palash, in which we were there. We came under very heavy air attack of rockets and strafing. They somehow Panvel missed, and it could go and do certain this thing, and they picked up the survivors like me, Raizada, Roy Chaudhary, and Raman Singh, Natu, and Bandhopadhyay. Bandhopadhyay, Natu, and Mittal was taken as prisoner of wars because they had swum to the other side of the thing near the Khulna shipyard where Razakars got them, and army came and took them as prisoner of wars. While we were picked up, Raizada and me were picked up by the INS Panvel. And a lot of gun action there by Panvel, firing a lot of installations and military installations and Khulna shipyard and other installations, other targets of opportunity in Khulna. And we came back with the injured back to Hasnabad by 10th, where they were lifted and sent to military hospital there. So I've been very brief in these two operations. They can be discussed, they're operations by themselves, they can be discussed in things. The three operations which are undertaken under the command of Captain Samant, later Captain Samant, Commander Samant at that time, directly under Navy hierarchy, naval hierarchy, from Chief Naval Staff to GNI to Samant, and the working level, the level of action. So that's how it is. So I'll close my presentation here. Any questions, I'd be glad to answer. Or if there's shortage of time, we'll skip and let's hear other speakers, please. I'm sorry if I've taken more time than I was signed. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, sir. It was indeed a very, very detailed and a very explicit kind of presentation, and the statement which went with it. We are indeed thankful to you for such a sharing your experiences with us, and we were indeed very, very enlightened. We now move on. We have Mr.
Unfortunately, I forgot to show the slide of the awards in this thing. They were the Bangladesh naval commanders and the people who took participated in this were very highly decorated. It's in the list here. Anybody can have this look at this list. On the naval side, we got 3 MVCs, 6 VRCs, and about 14, 15 naval sailor medals there. So pretty highly decorated, a bunch of people there. Thank you very much. Sorry I interrupted you.
Thank you very much, sir. Indeed, we are with the very, very elite company today. We have very decorated officers of both India and Bangladesh who are with us. Mr. Atharuddin Talukder, who will be our next speaker. He was a naval commando number 0122 in the commando operations. He has written a book on naval war against Pakistan Army at River Kirturu-Khola, Barisal. He then went to do BSc in electrical engineering and completed his bachelor's degree, and then joined the Bangladesh Power Development Board. And then he retired as a position of Chief Engineer of Bangladesh Power Development Board in 30th December 2011. And then he has been working on the generation of electricity with lesser cost. And that's a very noble cause. He's engaged in research and activity and is doing a lot of social work. I will now invite Mr. Atharuddin Talukder for his side of the story. Over to you, sir. Talukder, sir. Kanchana, can you call him up or something?
Sir, he's with us, sir. His video is on. I think he'll have to unmute himself.
Okay.
Sir, you will have to unmute yourself, sir. That red mic icon. We can't hear you. So on your mobile, there'll be a mic icon, so you'll have to click it so that we can hear you. Yes, sir.
Yes, do you hear me now?
Yes, sir, we are hearing you.
Okay. Thanks to the School of Military Affairs for giving me this opportunity to express myself and my contribution to the liberation war of Bangladesh. And at the inception of my delivery, I would pay my gratitude and tributes to the freedom fighters of Bangladesh and Indian soldiers who sacrificed their life for our liberation. Okay, let me start with the gist of my operation. I am not going to describe how I went to India and how I returned to the place of operation because it's a long story. So I will be just describing my operational activity. So the river operation at the Borishal Kirtankhala River was decided to be headed at 2 a.m. on 13th November. It was the time of eve and envisaging the utmost speed of the tide of water, the timing was estimated. 3 of ships were destined. It is alluded earlier that for having the operation in Borishal, it was we, the 3 naval commandos who were remaining at Kirtankhala. Kirtankhala, the village, was located on the eastern bank of the river Kirtankhala. Kornokati was located on the eastern bank of the river Kirtankhala. Borishal on the western side as well. The census that the river Kirtankhala flowed on the north-southern side near Borishal city. Which commando will dive into the river from which place was decided according to the position of enemy's ship. How I will dive into the river and get out of it was concluded through and a thorough survey or recce assisted by a local Chunnu Talukder. Mine was greater. We each decided to take 2 limpid mines, as though it was principled that one mine was to attach with the chest while swimming in this mission. Leader Syed Abul Bashar and Naval Commander Shah Alam also took part in it. It was preoccupied that with the help of 2 mines, our leader crossing the river Kirtankhala by boat at Rupatuli, adjacent to the city, a tiny bridge was supposed to be exploded. The reason behind this was to turn the invaders' glance aside. We each was advised by our leader that we would dive into the river as soon as we heard the sound of the bridge breaking down at 2 a.m., which would happen fast. According to the plan, I was supposed to dive into the river following a small canal which flowed by the northern side of the Kauarchan Madrasa. Madrasa means a religious institution. Kauarchan, and this was checked during in the afternoon at the time of Turkey, and was decided to cast mines with 2 of my anchor ships side by side, a little downstream of the floating dock. You know, Borishal has a floating dock where ships are repaired, and to get out at Naptarhat. It was also predestined that the co-fighter Shah Alam was supposed to dive into the river at Naptharad and also assumed to stay in the house of Rustum Sardar after embedding a mine in the ship which was anchored near TNT office, Borishal. One or two civilians were commissioned to stay at the fixed place where we would get out of the water. We arrived at 1 a.m. in that night along with 3 of the yachts at Naptharad from the house of Abdul Rashid. The yachts remained at Naptharad and I alone forwarded towards the Kawarchar Madrasa. At Naptharad, the Jubilants also assisted in the war, helped me binding 2 mines. There, I wore underwear for swimming. I had only 2 fins with me for swimming in my hand. It is worth of mentioning that the opponents were aware of attacking as several operations were conducted on 15th August at Mongla, Chittagong, Jagpur, and Narayanganj, and Daudkanti, sea and river ports. The distance from Naptharhat to Kawarchar Madrasa was about 750 meters. After coming 100 years from Naptharhat, I was in the hand of searchlight operation. The searchlight was filled upon on one side of the shore of the river and came on the other side of the river, roaming the whole river. Then searchlight was taken back at the same place. For example, Nala, Khal, Furong, Nodi, Gang, etc. The canals which were less wide were named as Nala. Those might be 2 or 3 feet wide, but the widest one was known as river, such as Padda, Meghna, Jamuna, etc. Khal or Furong was in the middle position. It was November, biting cold was everywhere. My only dress was underwear, but surprisingly, I could not feel the acuteness of winter and unconsciously I forgot it. It was about 2 a.m. On the other hand, I could not find out the way how to escape from the searchlight. But as I could manage, I tried my best to reach Kawarchar Madrasa. I thought I have to get into the water as soon as possible to retrieve the naval war. But it was far late to reach the northern canal. But I reached at the tune root, that is corrugated iron sheet room of Kawarchar Madrasa, which was located on the southern part of the canal. My assumption was that it was about 2 a.m. The decision was to get into the river as soon as possible. Very instantly, I wore the fins, pulled out the safety pin of the mine, and blocked the open hole of the pin with rubber cap. As mine was tied with my chest, I got into the river by southern side of the Kawarchar Madrasa by adopting crawling by my backbone. As soon as I got into the river, I started crossing the river, adopting 45-degree angle. When there is high tide in the river, one can easily cross the river most efficiently by the association of 45-degree angle swimming technique. I want to let the audience know that the weight of Lipid Mine is about 5 kg, but according to the principle of Archimedes on water, the Lipid Mine loses its weight to almost 500 grams for the upper pressure implemented by the water upwards. That is why it was not so difficult for me to carry 2 mines. It was exceptional to note that nobody amongst the naval commandos carried 2 mines at a time except Alam and I. Although at the time of taking training, it was not trained how to carry 2 mines at a time. it is because it was never anticipated that any naval commando would go to near the ship carrying 2 mines at the same time. You see, from my throat to my navel, it was entirely covered by 2 mines. I became a victim of searchlight while crossing the river. As soon as the searchlight reached almost near to me, I dived into the water of the river so that the opponents could not detect me. If a searchlight took 2 or 3 minutes to function, it took at least 9 minutes to cross the river Kirtankola. It should be noted that I missed my first target because I could not get into the water from the fixed place of the canal, which flowed by the northern side of the Kawarchan Madrasa. When I reached the western shore of the Kirtankola, then I stepped down about 3 yards towards the ebb tide from my target. Then the speed of the west at the highest. I tried hard and soul to reach my first target swimming against the current at least for 5 minutes. But it became quite impossible. I remained there where I was. I realized I would have not missed my first target if I could use the fixed place from where I was supposed to get down. I have already missed my first target. Being determined, I inclined to the second target. Accordingly, I cleansed the moss. Having no knife, I cleansed it by my hand and pulled up the 2 mines tied with my chest by a towel and those with my hands. Here it is to be mentioned, my Indian naval knife was taken away by a freedom fighter in the camp of Captain Omar, and he did not return. So I could not use the knife for cleaning. The magnet placed within the Lipid Mine and the steel placed underneath the ships created a kind of magnetic force, and as soon as they forwarded to each other, they produced a clicking sound. Attaching the 2 mines, I took rest for a minute, holding the handle. Then I pulled up the rubber cap located at the handle of the mines. Those 2 caps disappeared with water. Again, I started crossing the Kirtankola, then the destination of the eastern side of the river, the Naptarhat. That time, I was easy, calm, and quiet. There was no tension nor quickness within myself. I was companyless. The God was my only fate at that time. But sometimes I was accompanied by the searchlight. As soon as the searchlight neared to me, I could not help diving my forehead, eyes, and nose. Then I was at the middle of the river. There were prevailed pint of silence everywhere. That was a moment, indeed, from a point of view, can be said. In my mind, there appeared the moments of my training in the camps when several times Commander-in-Chief of Liberation of War, M.A. Usmani, Prime Minister of the temporary government, Tajuddin Ahmad, temporary President Syed Nazrul Islam, and head of Indian Navy Nanda paid visit to camps. After making every naval commando understand about their duties, CNC asked, "This is a suicide squad, and it is they only who can sacrifice their lives for the country should take training." In a very sonorous voice, Tajuddin Ahmad stated, "I am requesting the commandos to sacrifice what they have for the sake of their beloved motherland, and for this they would be heroically rewarded. While crossing the river, I found those inspiring and fire-like speech parallel with the realities. I was pondering over if the searchlight could detect me, and if their speedboat was ready, and if I uh, got red-handed, and then will be the result of what our leaders said at C2P camp. There was no weapons with the naval commandos for self-protection, and this was the major difference between naval commandos and land fighters who were fighting through routes. And for this reason, the naval commandos, I assume, were known as elite force. In the pages of the faded memories, there appeared memories of those days when adoption ungate ways I went to India, staying at the transit camp. My two comrades, Nurul Huda and Yusuf Ali, who went to Bihar for having training, so their agony of separation, mango orchard on the bank of Bhagirathi, visiting to Polashi and Murshidabad, taking tough but disciplined training, getting my spectacle with the help of then Lieutenant Vijay Kapil are to take part in the operations actively, as to say, to set up the Lipid Mine with my own hands underneath the ship. I was somehow sure that the Lipid Mine is going to be exported with the ship. My all supplication is going to be successful. I crossed about two-thirds of the river, and as soon as I looked back, I saw a light glimmering. For my convenience, there was supposed to limp a light at Naptarat. I could go to Naptarat on foot, getting up from water, but I did not do that because while swimming, I wanted to have the thrill of the exploration of the Lipid Mine that I set up by the shore of the river. I have started the water of the river worked. Now, by this time, while I was swimming, I suddenly heard a cring-like sound reached my ear. The water of the river worked as the medium to reach the sound to my ear. I thought as if the spring hitting the detonator there would create fire for the friction between the spring and the detonator. You're supposed to assume that soon after having the fire on the safety fuse would get melted and the plastic explosive set on the mine was going to be exploded at the expiry of 8 seconds from the detonating time. That was the heavenly moment for which such waiting, such excitement was working upon. For which I took the risk several times, and by the grace of the Almighty, I was saved. I took the training which is known as Suicide Squad. Though the trainer warned us about the difficulties, my first mind got exploded while I was swimming, and for the first time, I got the taste of long-awaited victory. Beside the ship, I saw the river water leaping up about 30 feet. I also discovered that the water of the river was glittering by the electric light. I got enchanted. That was the moment which can be said attractive, thrilling, enchanting, mesmerizing, magical. Above all, it cannot be described in words. In every man's life, there comes a moment which never can be forgotten. I think that was the best moment in my life ever. From the day when I started southern Bengal. He was walking by the shore opposite to the egg. If one sets up this net and walks against the current, the fishes will be automatically get into the net. He was walking against the current to catch fish. The current was favorable and I was swimming backwardly. Normally, I could not detect the fisherman and his net. Being scared to see me unclear, the fisherman ran towards the shore. He thought that perhaps any big fish or wild water animal had been in his net. The fisherman was trembling to fear. I assured, telling that, "Do not be afraid, I am a freedom fighter." I again asked him how far Naptarhat was from there. The fisherman replied that there appears the light. Naptarhat was only 100 years from us. At that moment, the second mine exploded. That means within less than 2 minutes, the second mine exploded. Hardly had the explosion took place when the Pakistani army and their accomplices staying on the western bank of the river started firing bullets like rainfalls for the reason of safety and to get protected from the bullets. I advised the fishermen to lay down on the ground, and so did I. It was about 5 minutes for the time they were firing intermittently. After the firing got stopped, I walked to Naptarhat on foot. The boys who were waiting for me got excited to see me. Nowadays, it is very often observed that for the sake of satellite, if any football or cricket team wins or any player
Unfortunately, it seems that we have lost the audio for Mr. Atharuddin Talukder.
No. Yes, perhaps I am getting it. Yes. Do you see me?
So we can see you, but your audio is
Okay. Is it okay now?
It is okay now, sir.
Okay. Okay. You see, the player who does in a cricket team makes 100. The supporters celebrate the moments with the player who make 100 along with the captain. The EOS waiting at Naptarhat did more than the words can describe. Observing their exaltation and excitement, I assumed if I could deliver all the happiness from the operation to them. And finally, I did that through my heart. Visiting to Indian through hazardous ways, toiling, training, maintaining hard discipline and hardship, returning after the battle, finished through the unfriendly way, and taking life risks to set up the mines in the ships. And finally, I forgot all the distress for that moment. One boy exalted said, exaltedly said, "I saw the water leaping out the highest." Okay. It had been mentioned earlier that after 15th August, operation and crews would be more alert. Alon was given the operation of a food-loaded foreign ship that he would target. After having swimming, he found that the engine of the ship was unworking. As a result, he could not reach the ship and failed to set up the mine to the ship. He repented as being not coming out of successful. People present there encouraged him not to yield and advised to be prepared for the next operation. The ship that I exploded with Lipid Mine was an oil tanker. The next day, the river Kittanpula at Borishal and 15 miles Jalokati were loaded with spilled oil. At the time of explosion, the mines, there was ebb tide, and as a result, the oil easily moved towards the Jalokati. The area of Borishal and Jalokati was panic-stricken with terror. You see, that is not the only operation of Borishal I take place. Again, on 29th November, I decided to sink another ship that was working as a ferry at Dwarika. It is a 7 or 8 miles north side of Borishal town. We, 2 persons, Shahalom and I, went there, and in the evening, we went for survey, and we found that the ferry that was working for carrying vehicles from one side of the river to the other side was made of wood. So there was no steel, and Lipid Mine could not be fixed there. Went to Madaripur, conducted an operation and had sunk 2 ships. So in Borishal, 3 ships have been destroyed by the naval commanders. And after the Liberation War, so far I remember, these 3 ships was bought by a businessman of Amanatganj, Borishal town, from the Inland Water Development Authority. We did not get any benefit. We naval commanders did not get any benefits from the ship. I can describe a phenomenon when on Borishal, on the way to Borishal in the steamer, I came face to face with a Rajakar, that is a militia. Do you like to listen to it? That event, that is very interesting point. How my life was saved. Is there any time?
So unfortunately, we have overshot our time by almost 1.5 hours now.
Yeah.
We will definitely invite you on some other occasion now, sir. And
Okay.
Very, very interesting.
That is fine. Thank you for giving me patient sharing. I shall tell you the story of Rajakar and the conversation between he and me if I get a chance in future.
We will definitely invite you for another session, sir. You all are are welcome guests, and some of you are appearing on our programs for a number of occasions. So it was actually very, very interesting, sir. Are you going to narrate some more, or should we now invite the next speaker, sir?
I could not follow you, sir.
Sir, is your narration over? Should we invite the next speaker, sir?
Yes, I have sent a copy of my being face to face with Rajakar. I have sent a copy to Kanchana Ramanujam.
That's very nice. We will actually keep it as a souvenir, and also we will, if possible, carry out some research on it. And also, sir, thank you very much. Just reminder of what.
Be in the river, and during crossing the river, and during coming back to the place where I should get out, I was always in the hands of searchlight. So it was very risky to do this operation amid searchlight operation.
Thank you very much, sir, for that aside, and we appreciate all the difficulties which you have faced during these operations, right from carrying 2 Lipid mines and also the problem of the weight increasing in the water and all those nice narrations which you have given. Thank you very much for your time, patience. Now, our last speaker today.
Thanks to Mr. Colonel Deepak, my Dadu, Commodore A.W. Chaudhary, and Mr. Sajjad, and finally thanks to Mr. Vijai Kapil, who introduced me to you for and arranged this lecture for you for the School of Military Affairs, Logistic and Strategy. Okay.
Thank you very much, sir. We will keep in touch. Very interesting things which you are doing in generation of electricity and all, and very nice narration which you have had. Now I call upon Padma Shri Lieutenant Colonel retired Qazi Sajjad Ali Zahir, Veer Pratik, Swadhinta Patak. Sir, remarkable officer, remarkable man, born in 11th April 1951 in Komila, and he was an officer in the Pakistani Army in the 14th Para Brigade in Sialkot. And when he decided to join the War of Liberation, he faced actions in Borlekha, Shamsher Nagar, Mongol Bazar, Juri, Kalora, Tengchugan, Silhet towns, etc. And he has been awarded Veer Pratik Gallantry Award for his actions in all those places which he has faced. He was also a chief instructor of Corps of Artillery, and he has received the Chief of Army Staff Commendation twice for his excellent performance in training courses in UK, USA, and India. He has authored 57 books. That is amazing, and has researched and presented more than 1,600 episodes of television and radio programs. The best TV documentary award he got for Bazlur Rahman Memorial Award in 2011. And he has also researched, documented, and written citation of Friends of Bangladesh who were honored in 9 phases. He has also a regular visitor to our clause, to Vivekananda Foundation, Jawaharlal Nehru University, Vidyasagar University, Burdwan University, American University in Washington, D.C., and is the recipient of the highest civilian award of Bangladesh, the Swadhinta Padak. He received the prestigious Padma Shri, Civilian Honor of India, just this year. We are very honored to have him. We have been listening it. Sir, we would just request you to, sir, for the lack of time, whatever you have to say, sir, it's over to you. But we have already run very over. But I will not stop you if you, sir, have something substantial to say on certain topic. Over to you, sir. So again, yeah, now it has come back, sir, voice.
Can you hear me now, sir? Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yes. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Very kind of you, all of you, to have given me the opportunity to talk to you. I start my small presentation to you by paying richest tribute to 1,601 Indian martyr soldiers, more than 13,000 soldiers of Indian Army who were wounded in 1971 war, and the 6 Navy officers and men who have sacrificed their life for the liberation of Bangladesh. They are Lieutenant Samit Das, Lieutenant Harbik Singh Sethi, Master Chief Petty Officer M.K. Vijayanand, Petty Officer K.M. Sharma, MEN Vijay Kumar, Seaman B. Singh. We are grateful to them, grateful to their families, and on the order of Sheikh Hasina, Honorable Prime Minister, a project perceived by me that Bangladesh will be considered an ungrateful nation if they do not recognize and honor every Indian martyred soldier. I've already done 2 events already. Rest of the events will follow after the corona situation improves. War kills men, women, children, love, and it kills history too. If you do not culture history, very sad to say, on both sides of the aisle, in your country and our country, I've been going down to universities and schools and colleges, our country and your country. New generation do not know much about 1971, the greatest victory ever won by any army in the world. They think it just like a 48 war, 64 Run of Kutch war, 65 Indo-pak war, or a Kargil war, or something like that, But that's different. Here, Indian Army came as a liberator army. And every soldier who has died in the soil of Bangladesh has enriched the soil of Bangladesh, and their blood is flowing through Padma, Meghna, Jamuna, and Tista, and will continue to flow through eternity. So our all salute, regards, respect to them. In the vast history of life, there are many incidents that we hear of. Today, I'm enriched by my dear friend Vijay Kapil, A.W. Chaudhary, Atharuddin Talukder. They are fascinating. We all talk about victory, but then what do you leave for the new generation? Not only celebration. This war was not the last war that India has fought. It has again, your soldiers and men had to go again back to the field. What have you learned about 1971? This glorious Navy, what have you learned about the glorious Navy? Today, I thought we should discuss a little bit about some of the failures also, because history is enlightened. History becomes lively, and history can be useful if you also face the challenges of history. I definitely agree with all the glamour, all the sacrifice, and I don't want to belittle anybody. But to take away the lessons of history, we must know our failures. Sir, briefly, Vijay Kapil sir has told us about Padma and Palash, the tragedy. There has been no official inquiry on that. It has been a disaster, sir. It's the same side. We lost best of the naval soldiers in that operation. The 2 ships gifted by Indian government to us, all repaired in Garden Rich shipyard in Calcutta, were the flagship of Bangladesh. Why did all the people or most of the people die? The ships are destroyed. That's a human tragedy. What have you learned from them? That should be done. People should be taught from that lesson. 50 years is not a long time of history. We have 1,000 years ahead of us, and our generation learn from there. The next operation is I'd like to tell you. As a student of military history, I have to be responsible to tell the facts. It doesn't affect patriotism. It's not criticism. Because in war, everything is fair. Even a defeat is also fair. And a mistake is also fair. Operation Beaver, Force Romeo, planned for Cox's Bazar. Indian government and the allied forces, they had the information, mass volume of Pakistani troops will cross through Cox's Bazar, go into Burma. Burma had a lot of friendship with them. It was an unplanned operation. Terrible operation, sir. They had no reconnaissance. They had just launched the Gorkha troops into the water, and so many were drowned, they didn't know how to swim. it was a disaster, sir. The ships had all got stuck because there was no reconnaissance. People didn't know about it. We haven't heard any research on that till now. Should we not learn from this effect? We won the greatest victory, but then we should analyze these factors. Then the other operation that I'd like to call about, which we call RK-623. We have forgotten about that. It was a beautiful planning made by Indian intelligence. Large number of Pakistani officers and soldiers, they are planning to escape from Bangladesh through Bay of Bengal in the disguise of merchant ships. Everything was planned, but that was stopped. Yes, that was a great thing done. But what I cannot understand, that Pakistan naval ship Rajshahi, commanded by Captain Guljarin, with 48 officers and men, they escaped through the naval blockade and reported to Penang. And then from there went back to Pakistan. We should have researched on that. And sir, even when you had the complete air superiority, this is not for the Navy, for the Air Force, complete air superiority. On the 14th night and 15th early morning, 8 helicopters of Pakistan Air Force carrying their one General Abdul Rahim, who was wounded while escaping from Chandpur area. He, with a number of people, officers, men, 8 nurses from the Combined Military Hospital, taking away all the gold from the central bank, all the dollars, all the money checks, everything, and escaped. Later on, they reached Burma, gave some bakshish, shared some gold with them, then had the opportunity to fly back to Pakistan. These gold reserves and this money later on used by the anti-Bangladeshi forces after Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujib was assassinated. And they made banks, insurance companies, industries, and a lot of money, bringing that money to us. Pakistan never forgot to any way disturbing Bangladesh. What was the opportunity they got? Coming back to the mainstream of discussion is that, sir, this is an academic institute. The people, the new students of Bangladesh and India hardly know about 71, the period we love, we say. How do we let these people know about 71? One of the finest examples today you have set up by allowing people, humble people like me, and glamorous people like A.W. Chaudhary and my friend Atharuddin Talukder to speak to your students. And we should do the same thing regular basis. We should have exchange programs from your universities, our universities. We are still living and kicking hard on the soil of Bangladesh, and you are kicking hard on the soil of India. This chapter should be reopened. Let history be carried out together. Together we fought in 71. Together we carried the glorious history of 71. Other than that, history will be forgotten, which is not desirable for all of us. By writing the citations of every Indian martyred soldier, every night I write down 1 or 2 or 3 citations, and really I cry. They are all children. They all died, age 17, 18, 19. They never had a family to carry forward their memory. They had no children, no wife, nothing. They all died young. And every martyred soldier, especially from India, because they died for my country. When I went to the house of Albert Ekka Paramvir Chakra, his wife, Balambini Ekka, who died only last month, caught my hand and said, "Oh, Bengal gaya or mar gaya, Bengal hum log ko yaad nahi karta." I came back, a report to Honorable Prime Minister, that they silent there. And she said, then I will go to Delhi to honor the first lot of martyred soldiers' families. With my own hand, she did keep her commitment. 1,300 officers, men, and martyred families were sitting. And I was reading out the citation of the young boys being killed. They are coming forward to receive the honor. Everyone, the ladies were allowed to come, and everyone embraced the Honorable Prime Minister, and everyone cried. The entire audience of 1,300 people cried. Why should these tears go in vain? But we should write the history together of 71. Your university has so much of interest. This is the third time I'm coming to you. I'll keep coming to you whether you want me or not, because I find the spirit of nationalism and spirit of 71 in the university, because you want to bring history to life, because life matters. Sorry to say, I have no romantic experience of girlfriends like A.W. Chaudhary had in France, because I had to escape from Pakistan with one shirt, one pant, 20 rupees and a boat. Inside the boat, I brought in whatever battle plan and future plan of Pakistan Army was. Battle of Shakargarh, I contribute to that. I got it to Indian Army, they didn't believe me. They didn't believe my memory, but I was a master of map reading, night navigation, and I remembered everything. I think they followed that up. Battle of Basant River, we'll discuss about that. And I have been able to save maybe hundreds and thousands of lives. You had a glamorous victory of 56 miles penetration. Pakistan's main LFC, Gujranwala LFC, was threatened. And then, as it was told that I have received many, many awards, the Pakistan government also gave me a very high award. They gave me a death sentence by a court-martial in absentia. And I still hold a death sentence against my name. My family had to suffer from that. My houses were burned. A lot of tragedies in the family. But whatever it is, what I would like to say that all of you, the new generation whom I love very much, you are a treasure to the nation and to humanity. You are carrying forward the legacy of the blood of the finest standing army in the world, the most battle-inoculated army in the world. One of the students from Bombay in a webinar asked me, "Sir, you have fought side by side Indian Army. In case of a war with China, what do you think will be the result?" I said, "Result is decided by God Almighty sitting in the heaven. But please don't worry. You have the finest army, most battle-inoculated army. No army has fought so many battles in such a short time. And you're the only army in the world which have won a victory of a nation in 13 days. And you have returned from that army with love and affection and respect. Not a single rape case, not a single murder case by such a big army. Every army, even the peacekeeping forces, also do the same thing." And General Ranjit Singh Arora went and met Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman and told him, "Sir, would you like to be taking the salute of our farewell parade on the 12th of March, 1972? Bangabandhu says, "Of course I do. I respect and love your army for their role." On that day, father of the nation went and took salute. 4 guard regiment gave the guard of honor to him. And they had brought in 30 horses from the cavalry regiment. Gentlemen, I sometimes think, why did General Arora get only 4 guard regiment? Because I will tell you from history, 4 guard regiment had 19 officers. 17 officers were wounded in 1971 war. The highest amount of injury for 1 battalion. And don't forget that 4 guard was 2x10 Bengal native infantry. This battalion was originally a Bengali battalion during British time. who are disbanded after the Sepoy Mutiny. History will go forward with you or without you, rightly or wrongly. Let us be on the right path of history. Battle of freedom is fought based on principle, and your principle was liberating a country which was being tormented. When our men died, the killers sang, and you wanted to stop their singing. So you had pushed in your effort and you had to sacrifice. But sacrifice is never defeat. Surrender is defeat. Pakistan army surrendered. Maybe they didn't sacrifice so much. So they achieved defeat for themselves. Let glory be for the people of India, people of the border states of India, the Indian martyr soldiers and their families, all the intellectuals, professors, doctors, social workers, everybody who helped 99,305 refugees of Bangladesh for 9 months in 826 refugee camps. That was a glamorous act of generosity. Let's hold the flag of victory. Let's remember each other with honor and dignity. And let history say so, that together we brought victory, not for Bangladesh, not for India, but a victory for humanity. I thank you all for listening to me, and I'm very grateful you asked me to come and join you. If you don't even ask me, I'll be there with you. You have done a fascinating job. Thank you very much, sir. And thank you very much for everybody listening to me. God bless all of you. Jai Bangla, Jai Bangabandhu.
Thank you very much, sir. There was indeed very, very encouraging words, and the lessons which you have hinted at, that in victory we should not forget the historical lessons, the political lessons, and the military lessons which all campaigns throw up. But this was a special campaign, and it threw up so many lessons. We must compile it, and I think you have shown us the way. We must have at least one paper where we can say what are the outcomes and what were the lessons learned in different spheres. Thank you very much for your very moving and very, very effective speech. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this session. It is upon my duty now to call upon the chief guests, Professor Dr. Vimal N. Patel, Vice Chancellor of Rashtriya Raksha University and member of the National Security Advisory Board. He's a very learned and a very, very erudite scholar. He has a very long career behind him, and he's leading the Rashtriya Raksha University and directing its destiny. We are indeed very fortunate to have him as a VC. Without much ado, I'll now hand over the stage to our Vice Chancellor. He will deliver the chief guest address today. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Commodore Inderjit Sharma, Commander Vijai Prakash Kapil, Captain Surinder Singh Sethi, Rear Admiral Mohanan, Commander Ashok Diwan, Commodore A.W. Chaudhary, Padma Shri Lieutenant Colonel Sajjad Ali Jahir, Mr. Atharuddin Talukder, Ms. Priya Sharma Shaikh, Ms. Anjali Mulakol, Ms. Amita Mulavatal, serving and retired, members of the Indian Armed Forces, Muktijoddhas, and guests from Bangladesh, NCC cadets, students, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I would like to extend my very deep gratitude to Colonel Joshi and his entire team for a very, very engaging program today. Victory at Sea, the naval operations of 1971, is a proud presentation and sixth webinar in our monthly webinar series, which has been organized by the School of Military Affairs, Strategy and Logistics since December 2020 to mark the Golden Jubilee Year of Vijay Diwas. And I take opportunity again to thank General Saha, who envisaged and ably supported and taken on by Colonel Joshi and the entire team since December 2020. I heard with immense interest as the speakers brought out one after other how the Indian Navy's daring operations tightened the naval nose around the enemy, establishing effective supremacy over the waters and severing the maritime link between the East Pakistan and the West Pakistan. The de facto naval blockade and the contraband control measures reminded me of the recent Suez Canal obstruction, which led to the blockage of maritime traffic, severely impacting the international maritime trade. We are able to appreciate this aspect of maritime commerce disruption and maritime warfare now. Of course, all of you during your discourse mentioned, but I would like to draw attention to the fact that the number of US, British, and Iranian warships, including 2 aircraft carriers, were present in the North Arabian Sea for CENTO exercise scheduled in the last week of November and the first week of December 1971. It was hence to be ensured that our operations did not interfere with the CENTO ships and also did not attack neutral merchant ships. As you all know, with Pakistan's ban on the approach of merchant ships with 70 nautical miles of Karachi between dusk and dawn, this was obviated. As brought out during this webinar, the operations in the Bay of Bengal earned 5 Mahavir Chakra, Captain Surinder Prakash, AVSM, Commanding Officer of Vikrant, Commander M.N. Sawant, Senior Officer of Force Alpha, Lieutenant Commander S.K. Gupta, Sea Hawk Pilot, Lieutenant Commander J.P.A. Noronha, Commanding Officer of Panvel, and leading seaman Chiman Singh, the clearance driver. The operations in the Arabian Sea earned 3 Mahavir Chakras, Commander K.P. Gopal Rao, Commanding Officers of INS Kiltan, Commander B.B. Yadav, Squadron Commander of the K-25 Missile Bot Squadron, and Captain M.N. Mullah, Commanding Officer of the Kukri, who went down with the ship and was decorated with the MVC posthumously. We feel honored that the daughters of Captain M.N. Mullah graced a webinar and also were part of this audience and addressed us. I would like to mention that the naval operations of 1971 also included an amphibious operation code named Operation Beware, wherein troops were landed off Cox's Bazar aimed at cutting the possible Pakistan escape routes to Burma. This was the second time an amphibious landing of the Indian Navy had been carried out, the first one being in 1947 during the Junagadh operation. After the completion of the surrender ceremony at Dhaka on 16 December, the flag officer commanding East Pakistan, Rear Admiral Sharif, handed over his Chinese-made revolver and clip of ammunition to India in his flag officer commander-in-chief, Eastern Naval Command, Vice Admiral N. Krishnan, and said, "Admiral Krishnan, sir, soon I will be disarmed. Your Navy fought magnificently and had us cornered everywhere. I would like to surrender my arms to the CNC end of the Eastern Fleet." Unquote. Friends, between 30 December 1971 and 7 January 1972, a total of 12,708 prisoners of war were ferried from various ports in Bangladesh to Calcutta. The offensive and defensive measures enforced by the Indian Navy remained in place till the surrender of the enemy on December 16th. I wonder if any other similar sized navy could have achieved this feat. Jai Hind, and look forward to participate in your next seminar. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your guidance and your kind words. I now hand over the proceedings to Kanchana Ramanujam. Over to you, Kanchana.
Thank you, sir. With that, we have come to the end of the webinar on the naval operations of 1971. I express my most sincere gratitude to all the speakers for giving us such an exhaustive presentations on the topic. I would want to specially thank Commander Rajinder Datta, Secretary, Navy Foundation, Mumbai chapter, who was instrumental and helped us immensely in identifying the right speakers and connecting with them. A word of thanks also to Brigadier Prakash Gokhale, who has been throughout guiding us in the proceedings of the webinar. All our videos are available on the YouTube channel of Rashtriya Raksha University. In case you have missed anything or you want to go through it again, please visit the YouTube channel of Rashtriya Raksha University. Thank you very much. And we'll be inviting you all again for our next webinar, which will be planned for the next month. Thank you very much.